I never thought of that. I'd like that swallow. Only, I don't know much about roping or riding, stuff like that.
Oh, you'll learn quick enough. Is it a deal?
Well, you bet.
Good. Now, when Vinegar John gets back this afternoon, he'll assign you a place in the bunkhouse and tell you what to do. Put yourself in his hands, and you'll be all right.
Time to get started for Capital City, if we're going. Oh, hello, Jeff.
Howdy, partner.
Jeff's just become one of our ranch hands, Mike.
Huh?
He's going to work for us during the summer, that is.
That's fine, Jeff. I can't think of nothing better for a growing youngster than to...
Excuse me, boys.
Yes.
Tom McShiggy. Vinegar? Yes. What? Sure, Vinegar. Sure. Pronto. You're right, Mike. It is time we got started.
Something wrong, Tom?
He said something strange has happened, and the Scarlet Scarecrow's been at work again. Shredded Ralston for your breakfast. Start the day all shining bright. Gives you lots of cowboy energy with a flavor that's just right.
For better breakfast, it's Ralston. 1, 2, 3. Shredded Ralston, the ready-to-eat bite-sized cereal. Regular Ralston and instant Ralston, the delicious hot cereal. Look for these whole grain cereals in the red and white checkerboard packages. For better breakfast, it's Ralston. 1, 2, 3.
Gunsmoke, brought to you by L&M Filters. This is it. L&M is best, stands out from all the rest. Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The transcribed story of the violence that moved west with young America. And the story of a man who moved with it.
I'm that man. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. The first man they look for and the last they want to meet. It's a chancy job, and it makes a man watchful. And a little lonely. Well, hello, Kitty. What are you doing out so early?
You're not very observant. Look at me.
Huh? Oh, that's a riding skirt, huh?
I've been clear out to Sand Springs and back before breakfast, too.
Alone?
I like to ride alone. And, Matt, I jumped a herd of antelope. There must have been 100 of them.
That was too bad you didn't have a gun.
Shoot one of them? Never.
Well, I've seen you eat antelope often enough, Kitty.
Oh, that's different.
Well, you couldn't have packed one back anyway. Makes a horse pretty wild sometimes.
Wouldn't the horse I was riding? I think he was sound asleep the whole way. Matt, why don't you come riding with me some morning?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Go riding for pleasure?
Why not?
You know, Kitty, I took this marshal job to keep out of the saddle. You know, there was a time I was beginning to think I forgot how to walk.
You're plain lazy, that's what.
All right, I'll go with you sometime. But I won't promise to leave all those antelope steaks running around loose out there.
I'll scream. You won't get anywhere near them.
Yeah, I'll bet you would, too.
Sure.
Hey, Mr. Dillon? Mr. Dillon? Oh, morning, Miss Kitty.
Hello, Chester.
Say, you've been out horseback riding, Miss Kitty.
Chester, someday you're going to make a woman very happy.
I am?
Matt didn't even notice my riding skirt.
He didn't?
No.
Well, you came up here in a big rush, Chester. What's it all about?
Oh, it's Earl Heaney, Mr. Dillon, the fellow that banks the faro table over at the Long Branch.
Yeah, I know him.
Something happened to him, Chester?
It sure did. Sam Noonan went out back when he come to work this morning, and he found Haney laying there. Somebody's busted his head open.
Is he dead?
Not yet, but he don't look good, according to Sam.
Well, is Doc there?
No, sir. Doc went out to the Tewksbury Ranch. He left a note on his door saying he won't be back till afternoon. Sam come to the office and told me about it.
You better go see him, Matt.
Yeah.
There he is. End of the alley, Mr. Dillon.
Well, at least Sam put a blanket over him.
Good thing you come, Marshal.
Is he still alive, Sam?
Oh, he's alive, but he ain't good. He comes to every once in a while, and then he passes out again.
Yeah. He say anything about what happened?
Well, I didn't try to make him talk, Marshal.
You any idea what happened, Sam?
Oh, no. Last I saw of him was early this morning, about 4 o'clock. I left him counting the money at his faro table, alone.
He's coming too, Mr. Dillon. He just moved.
Yeah. Haney? Haney, can you hear me? It's Marshal Dillon.
Marshal?
Yeah. Who did it, Haney? Who was it?
Slugged me with this 6-gun. Kept hitting me.
Who?
Tall fella. He come in when I was alone. Took my gun. All the money.
Well, what did he look like, Haney? Besides being tall.
Real tall. Red hair.
Hey, look there, he's passed out again. He keeps doing that, Marshal.
A tall man with red hair.
I don't know who that'd be.
Jim Bostic's got red hair.
Who?
Bostic. I think I know him.
Yeah, sure you do, Mr. Dillon. He's always sitting around gambling over at the Alfraganza. Day and night he's there.
You stay here with Sam, Chester.
All right, sir.
I'm afraid there's not much you can do for Haney except watch him die. I'm going after Jim Bostic.
Filled it inside. There they are, gentlemen. King High straight. My pot.
Who can McKinley?
Well, hello, Marshal. Take a hand.
No, thanks. I want to talk to you, Bostic.
Now?
Yeah.
What about?
Come over to the bar and I'll tell you.
Sounds important.
It is.
Okay. Deal me out this hand, gentlemen.
Okay, Bostic. All right, gentlemen. That's for the deal.
Hope this don't break my luck, Marshal. It's been running good the last couple hours.
All-night game?
Oh, he started just after midnight.
Ah, then you've been sitting with those men ever since midnight, then.
Just about, Marshal. What'd you want to see me for?
You know Earl Haney, Bostic?
I ain't proud of knowing him.
Oh?
I got no use for him. It's nothing in particular, Marshal, but I never did like him.
I see.
Well, what are you asking me about him for?
He was, robbed and slugged this morning.
He was? Well, you don't think I had anything to do with it, do you?
He said it was a tall man with red hair. And you're the only red-haired man I could think of.
Oh, he's lying. He's trying to put it on me because we're enemies.
You think he'd do that?
Well, of course he would. Haney'd do anything to get me in trouble.
He's dying, Bostic. That'd be going pretty far, wouldn't it?
Not for Haney, you wouldn't.
You know, there's something I don't understand.
What?
You're making a big argument about Haney lying to get you in trouble. Well, there are 4 men sitting over there to alibi for you.
Well, I wasn't in the game the whole time, Marshal. I left for about an hour.
What time?
It was about 4 o'clock, I guess.
It was, huh?
Oh, that's when Haney got it.
That's when he got it.
You're going to be disappointed, Marshal.
What?
I still got an alibi.
Oh, you better have. Who is it?
Doc Adams.
Doc?
Sure. I got a stomach cramp real bad, so I left the game, went over to Doc's and woke him up. He fixed me some stuff in a glass, and then we sat and talked. He said he had to get up early anyways.
Well, I'll say one thing, Bostic. You don't think straight, but you think fast.
Mr. Dillon?
Yeah, what is it, Chester?
It's Haney. He come to again, started asking for you. Says he's got something to tell you. You'd better hurry. He's awful serious about it.
I'll go, Chester. But first, I'm going to take your gun, Bostic.
What for?
Give it to me. Here, Chester, you hold it.
Yes, sir?
You're under arrest, Bostic.
Under arrest?
Taken to jail, Chester.
Well, no, look here, Marshal. All you got to do is ask Doc. He'll tell you.
Doc's not here. He won't be back till afternoon.
Well, I can't wait that long. I'm starting out for Coldwater in an hour. I want to be there tomorrow.
You're not going anywhere till Doc gets back. Probably not then. All right, lock him up, Chester.
Yes, sir.
When I got back to the alley where Haney was lying, I found Sam had pulled the blanket up over his face. He'd come to for the last time. And whatever it was he wanted to tell me, I'd never know. Sam and I carried him inside. Then Sam sent for a wagon to take him out to Boot Hill. We had to wait for over an hour. And when it finally showed up, we loaded Haney onto it, and they drove off. I stood in the street and watched him for a minute or two. Then I walked over to the jail.
Hey, who's out there? Hey, come back here. Out back. Mr. Dillon, hey, come out here. For mercy sakes alive, I didn't think you was ever coming. He had a gun hid out, Mr. Dillon, and he got the drop on me just as I was locking him up. He made me get in the cell here, and then he closed the door on me and left.
I've got a key.
Well, I should have held his gun on him the whole time. I had it stuck in my belt, though. Who'd have thought he was carrying another gun here?
All right, Chester, come on out.
I swear I've been yelling myself for it. You'd think somebody would have heard me, wouldn't you?
He's got over an hour's start on us.
Well, he's headed southeast, Mr. Dillon, toward Coldwater.
How do you know?
That's where he said he was going.
Yeah, I know. I heard him.
Yes, sir, but he told me again when he left. He said he knew you was going to be awful mad at him, but he'd planned to be in Coldwater tomorrow, and besides, it wouldn't make any difference once you talk to Doc.
Well, he kind of decides things for himself, doesn't he?
Well, he is a pretty independent fellow, Mr. Dillon, but Doc will be back in a couple hours, so there's nothing to worry about.
Nothing to worry about.
Well, I mean, as soon as Doc tells you Bostic was with him this morning, then he'll be clear, won't he?
Bostic tried to use Doc for an alibi just to stall for time, Chester.
But he didn't know Doc was out of town.
You talk like you think he's innocent.
Well, didn't Haney tell you he was only trying to get him in trouble?
And he was dead when I got there.
Oh. Well, me and Bostic was talking about it on the way over here, and we figured that's what he was going to say. I reminded him when he ran off, but he just wouldn't wait for you to come back. He said he'd had all he could stand to dodge, and he wanted to get out of here right now. Like I said, he's kind of independent.
He didn't run because he's independent, Chester. He ran because he's guilty, the way any murderer would. While we're standing here jawing about it, he's out there covering miles.
Oh, but a couple of hours won't make so much difference, Mr. Dillon. We can go after him if Doc says he was lying.
We'll get started now.
But if he didn't do it and we waste time chasing him, the real murderer will get away.
I want Bostic, and I don't want any more talk about it. No man's going to break out of this jail and ride off like he owned the country. I'm going to get my horse and go after him before I get so mad I can't see the track. You can stay here and talk your head off if you want. The horse is okay, Chester.
Oh, mine got tangled up in his tire rope, the darn fool. That's what all the stomping around was about. Oh, my. I sure do wish we could have a fire to sit around tonight.
No, we can't risk it, Chester. From the sign on Bostic's trail, I think we almost caught up with him before it got dark. And unless he's riding all night, he might be camped within a mile of us.
Oh, well, I didn't mean it seriously, Mr. Dillon, about having a fire. Honest, I didn't. I was only talking. I wouldn't...
Take it easy, Chester. It's not you I got mad at today. It's Bostic.
Yes, sir.
Hey, you still think I was wrong not waiting to talk to Doc, don't you?
Yes, sir. I do.
Well, I guess that's why they have generals in the Army. Somebody's got to make the decisions.
Sure.
I was sure wrong about one thing, though.
Oh?
I wish I'd allowed us enough time to tie on a couple of blankets. It's going to be a cold night.
Yeah, especially without a fire.
Well, at least we got a sack of jerky. Jerky will keep a man warm just chewing on it.
A plate of hot pinto beans will keep 'em a lot warmer. All mixed up with chili peppers, like they do down on the Bravo. Oh, my goodness, I'd give most anything I know for a pot of that right now.
You know, anybody who likes food the way you do ought to be a cook, Chester.
I was a cook once.
Oh, is that so? Where?
In the Army. Back in '65, the spring Richmond fell. But I quit.
You quit?
Oh, I don't mean I quit the Army. I quit cooking.
Oh, why?
Supplies ran out. We had to take to foraging for our grub. It's a funny thing. You join the Army to be a soldier and you wind up being a chicken thief.
Well, I can think of a lot of men that wouldn't bother.
Well, to tell you the truth, Mr. Dillon, stealing food come kind of easy to me. I didn't have no conscience at all about it. What's that?
It's not one of our horses. It's too far off.
Now that's closer. He's coming this way. There's one of ours answering him.
Listen. Now that horse is hobbled, Chester. Come on.
There, I see him. Right out there.
Yeah, he's seen us, too. He's standing still.
I wonder how far he's come like that.
Easy now. Don't scare him.
Oh. Steady, boy. Hold.
Yeah, he couldn't have come very far with those hobbles. Not more than about a mile, I'd guess.
How do you figure that?
Well, it's been dark an hour and a half. Whoever was riding him unsaddled about then. Let's tie him up, Chester, and we'll go back the way he came.
You're thinking it's Bostic's horse?
And I'm sure hoping it is. I'd hate to surprise an innocent man into a shooting out there. We unhobbled the horse and tied him up, then started off across the prairie on foot. A man makes less noise than a horse. We couldn't do any tracking in the dark, so we had to go by guess and hope we were lucky. But we weren't. And after wandering over the prairie half the night, we gave it up and found our way back to camp. There was only one other thing to do. And a couple of hours before dawn, we led the horse back some distance the way he'd come hobbled him again, and hid ourselves in the high buffalo grass. And then we waited a long time.
What if that horse starts back for our camp, Mr. Dillon?
Then we're in trouble, Chester.
Anyway, this beats stumbling around in the dark. I like to broke my neck a couple times last night.
And I was hoping we'd be lucky. If we'd found him asleep, we could have taken him without a fight.
And doggone him. He probably slept the whole night, all cozied up in a blanket, too.
Shh. Quiet, Chester.
Yeah. Well, that's him. He's whistling for his horse.
Well, he's wasting his breath. That horse isn't going to move.
How are we going to take him?
You stay on your belly. I'll stand up first. Quiet now.
You danged animal. How'd you get so far from camp? I'll tie you up next time. Hold still now. I'll get these hobbles off here.
Stay down now, Chester.
All right, throw him up, Bostic.
They're up. Now, what you come chasing clear out here for, Marshal?
I'll take your gun, Bostic.
Okay, Chester.
Chester here, too? Is that why you come after me? I didn't do him no harm, Marshal.
Oh, Bostic.
I didn't hurt you one bit, did I, Chester?
Well,
I don't understand this, Marshal. Of course, maybe I shouldn't have run off when I'd been arrested and all, but I don't like being cooped up. Besides, I want to get out of Dodge. I'm tired of it.
Bostic, I don't know whether you're half smart or plain crazy. But we'll find out when we get back to Dodge.
Doc will be down in a minute, Mr. Dillon. He's finishing up an autopsy.
An autopsy on who?
I don't know.
You don't, huh? Did you tell him about Bostic?
Yes, sir.
Well, what did he say?
Well, Mr. Dillon, I'd rather Doc told you himself.
What's the matter with you, Chester? You're not even looking at me.
Hello, Matt.
Hello, Doc.
Well, I've got a feeling Chester left it to me to tell you.
To tell me what?
Ken Scholes got killed, Matt.
Well, who's he?
He's the faro banker that was hired to take Earl Haney's place.
Oh.
He got killed and robbed the same way Haney did, Matt. Same time, everything.
Any idea who did it?
He didn't live as long as they tell me Haney did, but Sam got a few words out of him. He said the bandit came up behind him, so he never saw his face. But before he hit him, he started bragging about how he hadn't planned to push his luck again. But with you out of town, it was easy. He said he was riding off right away and never coming back.
Well, I guess there's no use asking you about Bostic, is there?
He was with me, Matt. Like he said.
All right, go get him, Chester.
Yes, sir.
Now, Matt.
It's okay, Doc.
Hello, Doc. How are you?
I'm fine, Bostic. I'm fine.
Well, Marshal, did he tell you?
Yeah, he told me. There's your gun, Bostic.
Thanks. You ain't sore at me, are you, Marshal?
A man's been killed because I lost my temper yesterday, Bostic. If I'd been thinking instead and stayed here, it wouldn't have happened.
That's bad. That's real bad.
Yeah.
Marshal, you ever get to Coldwater, I'd like to buy you a drink.
You would?
Anybody can make a mistake. But it's a rare man that don't try to weasel out of it when he does. Well, I'll be going now. So long, Marshal.
By Norman MacDonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Our story was specially written for Gunsmoke by John Meston, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Sound patterns by Tom Hanley and Ray Kemper. Featured in the cast were John Daner, Luke Brookman, and James Nusser. Harley Bear is Chester, Howard McNear is Doc, and Georgia Ellis is Kitty.
Cisco Kid in our gripping story, Montana Guns. Billings, Montana, which lies on the west bank of the Yellowstone River, came into being when the Northern Pacific Railroad refused to pay the exorbitant land prices asked by nearby Colson. And so in the early 1880s, emissaries of the railroad laid out the town of Billings, which grew steadily and healthily in spite of such early and undesirable residents as Baxter Fraley and Woody McClune. As our story opens, Fraley and his henchman McClune are riding up the valley towards a ranch not far from the foot of Kelly Mountain.
If Tom Kane's going into Billings, what's the point of riding out here to his ranch, Bax?
His two brothers, Ed and Joe, will be at the ranch.
But Ed's crippled up with two broken legs. Kind of broken that wild bronco fellow.
I reckon I know that, Woody. All the better for us. Today I aim to get Joe, then I'll get Tom later on, and after that I'll get Ed.
You sure want the Kane cattle, don't you, Fraley?
Hey, you bet your life I do. Look at them out there, fat and slick. They'll bring a nice price.
You plan to run the cattle off after you get all the brothers, huh?
That's right, Woody. Look. There's Joe Kane in the ranch yard. Watch me make him go for his gun first.
Better be careful, Bax. He might be good with guns.
Yeah, and I might be better with them. After all, I'm paid for gun work. Oh, boy, whoa. There, you've been making talk about me in Billings, have you, you sneaking polecat?
Oh, I ain't boiling.
Call me a liar, huh? Trying to sneak out of it now. You're yellow like all the Canes. Just plain yellow.
That's enough of that.
Why, you measly double-crossing buzzard bait, you yellow belly. You're just like your brother Tom.
Watch him, Bax. He's going for his...
I reckon that does for Joe Kane. Come on, let's go. We'll let his brother Tom make the next move.
Got to get close to Billings now, Cisco.
We are nearly in the town, Pancho. That trail you see ahead, only a short time ago, was renamed Terry Avenue.
Where'd that go to?
Well, if we followed it, we would come out just about on 7th Avenue South. But we have no reason to go into the town. We'll ride on up the valley.
Why, we ride up this way, Cisco.
Why?
Uh-huh.
This is Montana.
You've been here a lot of times, Cisco.
Yeah, but I always like to come back.
Uh-huh.
This country up here is big. It's clean and wholesome, and I like it.
Oh, see, Cisco. And I like the country, too. But, Cisco,
well?
most of the cattle we see are here good fat cattle.
Yeah?
And those cattle, they're not good fat cattle.
For a fact, they are not, Pancho.
No, they're not.
Let us stop and look at them. Hold up, hold. Oh, that is not a good range for them, Chico. There's little grazing for them there.
Almost not no grazing, Cisco. You come to an island. You look like tough hombres.
Hey, what are you two hombres looking at them cattle for?
Is it against the law to look at them, senor?
That ain't what I asked you. Come on, I want an answer.
You talk that way, hombre. You get the answer you not like.
Let us be going, Pancho. This hombre is looking for an argument.
Now, wait a minute. There's my cattle out there, and I got a hunch you two are planning to rustle some of them.
You get that answer very quick, hombre.
I don't like strangers around my place. What are you doing here?
Take back. Wait a minute. One of those
Don't interrupt.
But listen.
Shut up.
Out of the way, hombre, or I'll ride you down.
Oh, you will, huh? We'll see about that. Come down off that horse. Come down.
As you will, hombre.
Now, by thunder, I'll teach you a lesson.
Maybe you learned the lesson, hombre.
You asked for this fight, and you will get it. Like this, and this, and like this.
Pancho tells you, hombre.
What about you, hombre? You looking for trouble, too?
Me? No, I ain't. Not with you, Cisco. I don't know about you.
Very well, then. Let us be going, Pancho. Out, Diablo.
Oh, go now, go.
Joe! This can't be. Ed!
Yeah, is that you, Tom?
Ed, you all right?
Yeah, I'm as all right as a man can be, laying in bed with a couple of broken legs. What's the matter, Tom?
The matter? Why, Joe... Say, didn't you hear any shots out in the yard?
Yeah, I heard some shooting and woke me up. I was kind of snoozing. I figured it was Joe shooting at a rattler.
Joe's dead, Ed.
What?
Shot and killed. I hope you'd have some idea who done it.
I'll go out with you, Tom.
No, you can't. Now, don't try to get out of bed.
Oh.
Somebody's riding in here. I'll go see who it is.
We would like some water for our horses and ourselves, if you do not mind, and then we would like... Well...
Sing on the ground.
See.
Who are you two?
I'm called the Cisco Kid.
Pancho called Pancho.
The senor, perhaps we can be of help to you.
Well, I reckon you two are all right. I know of the Cisco Kid. Maybe you'd give me a hand carrying my brother into the house.
Of course, senor. Give me that.
Some two-legged coyote came here and plugged him while I was in Billings.
We give you our sympathy, senor. Was there no one else here?
Just my brother Ed. He's confined to his bed. 2 broken legs. Put Joe down here on this couch.
Si, senor.
I'm much obliged, Cisco. My name's Kane. Tom Kane. Just make yourself at home. You understand, though, I can't pay much attention to it just now.
Do not even think of that, senor. Let us take a look out in the yard, Pancho. Perhaps we can find a clue.
We look for a clue, Cisco. Who'd do a thing like that, anyway?
That is what we will try to find out, Chico. In the midst of his grief and trouble, Senor Tom Kane thought of our comfort. And we must help him.
What is that, Cisco?
Those are made by the horses hitched to the buckboard. But these tracks over here, footprints of horses.
What is it, Cisco? What is it, huh?
2 horses came in here.
Uh-huh.
One of the riders dismounted here and stood facing Senor Joe.
Facing Senor Joe, huh?
And got back on his horse and... look here, Pancho.
Yeah.
There is a bad flaw in this horseshoe.
Uh-oh.
It is a small, square hole in the earth.
Easy to follow that, no?
I believe it will be, Pancho. At least you will find out.
Oh, hurry! Now, what's the big rush, buddy? Where in thunder you been?
First off, I wish you'd keep your blasted cats out of the ranch here, Max. Most rode a couple of them kittens down.
I like cats, and I'll stay right here. Now, answer my question.
Well, remember I told you that big hombre was the Cisco Kid?
Yeah, the buzzard.
I thought I'd follow him a ways to find out what he's up to. Him and his partner went to the Kane Ranch.
Well, what of it?
Just this, Bax. They're tracking us down right this minute.
Tracking us?
Yeah, they said I rode back at full gallop. I'll let you know, that Cisco Kid's one of the greatest trackers in all the West. He used to track for the Army.
So he's tracking us, huh?
He sure is.
Well, then he'll track himself right plumb into a nice trap. How far away is he now?
You're not far. It ain't far from this ranch of yours to the Kane boys' ranch.
Hey, boys. Boys, come here. I ain't giving you boys any excitement lately. Maybe now you can get some. Yeah, what's up? Well, Woody here tells me the Cisco Kid and his partner are riding in, tracking down me and Woody. I owe that Cisco Kid his comeuppance, and I want to see he gets it. With lead.
Get Cisco and his partner out of the way, and then we can get them cattle to Kane.
I'll do the talking here, Woody. You understand?
Well, I was telling her...
Shut up. Said I'll do the talking. I meant just that. Now, you listen, boys. I want you to get under cover with your rifles. If Cisco and his partner ride in here, I don't want them to see a thing. I don't want them to suspect nothing. But when I give the signal, all you hombres open up on them. And when I say open up, I mean shoot to kill.
I've not seen no more tracks now, Cisco.
Well, the tracks are down there, amigo. Look closely. You can see the hoof prints.
Cisco, you got a better eyes than Pancho. The rest down there all hard rock.
But you should be able to see those hoof prints, Pancho. Oh, they have a hole.
Look.
Now, look again.
Oh, now Pancho see.
Down by that big stone.
Pancho see a little square place.
See, Chico. Where that flaw in the horseshoe shows in the earth.
You're the best rocker, Cisco.
Gracias. All you have to do, Pancho, is study the ground.
You got eyes like the eagle, no?
Well, that helps. Up, Diablo.
Go now.
Oh, now the tracks are plainer.
They're those skinny collars again, Cisco.
Gee. This is the way we came before.
They're roundhouse, I tell you what. The people not taking much care of that roundhouse.
It's not far from here that we had the trouble with that hombre. I wonder if that could be his place.
It's not no this, Cisco.
That does not matter one way or the other. Pancho, these tracks are leading right straight into that ranch yard.
Not see nobody around there, Cisco.
Perhaps nobody is there. They may have left. Just the same, we will stop right here and look that place over. Hold there.
Look.
At least the place is not deserted. There are some hens there.
I see a cat in the ranch yard. I see another cat. There's another cat.
Now, let me think.
What do you think about this, sir?
How it is best to approach that ranch house?
I got the idea, sister. We'll ride back and make the big circle. And come to the ranch house from the other side, no?
That would not help matters any, Chico.
No, not help.
If the two hombres who stopped at the King Rancho are in that house, they have seen us by now.
Maybe not, sister. Maybe they're asleep.
I do not think so. Not if they are the ones who shot down Senor Joe. At least one of them will be on watch.
What do we do?
Ride into the ranch yard, go to the house and knock at the door. Up, Diablo.
Go. Not try to fool them, no?
There's no point in that when they can see us all the time.
I'm still not seeing nobody there.
You might be right, amigo. At the same time, let us keep our wits about us.
Yeah, Pancho, keep his wits because...
Hey, wait a minute, Pancho. Hold on. Something frightened those hens when they got close to the back of the stable.
Oh, anything frightened hens.
See, but we will look things over again from here.
Oh, Cisco, you see the little kittens come out from the stable.
See, Chico, I thought I saw someone look out a window of that house.
You find it like the little kittens, Cisco. And Pancho, see the little kittens. Go.
Pancho.
Hey, Pancho, I like you.
Pancho, come back at once. You may be riding into a trap.
All right, boys, now!
Madre mia, Pancho is down on the ground. We must get him out of there. Here!
And Cisco rides to save his friend, risking his own life. In just a moment, we'll return to the Cisco Kid. Now back to the Cisco Kid and our gripping story, Montana Gun. On the track of the killers who shot down Joe Kane, Cisco and Pancho approached a dilapidated-looking ranch house. As they stopped to size up the situation, Pancho saw some kittens playing in the yard. Heedless of Cisco's orders to stop, Pancho rode into the yard to play with the kittens, whereupon concealed gunmen opened fire. As Pancho tumbled from his horse, Cisco started to the rescue.
There must be at least 6 or 7 banditos hidden around this place. Pancho, yeah! I must do some shooting myself. Now, hold on, ho. See, Pancho. We must get you under cover at once. Nobody is firing out of that old shed. Come on.
Pancho, that mind is Cisco. Pancho hit with the bullet.
See, Pancho. Look at that wound in a moment. I put you down on the floor here. Lucky for us, no one was in this shed.
You better lay down on the floor, Cisco. Bullets coming right through the shed.
See, amigo. But I will fire a few shots to hold the banditos off.
Cisco.
See?
Pancho, sorry, Cisco.
I understand. Now hold still until I see how badly you are wounded.
Hey, you hombres, go on. Rush that shed.
Come on the track, banditos. I'm waiting for you.
Rush that shed, I told you.
Well, we need not worry about them, amigo.
Pancho, I think this is a bad wound, Cisco.
Now, let me see. You're very lucky, Pancho. Just touched your head in passing.
Pancho got a good hard head, no?
When it comes to disobeying orders, you have.
Oh, excuse me.
Hold still. I'll bind up the wound with this neckerchief.
Mm-hmm.
There you are.
Gracias, Cisco. Pancho, feel better.
Oh, glad you do.
Now what we do, Cisco?
What do you think we're going to do, Pancho? Walk out against those bullets?
Didn't hit you before.
Oh, that was a miracle. For the time being, we will have to stay right here.
I'll fix them hombres for not rushing that shed.
Take it easy, Branch.
Take it easy, nothing. Them hombres get their orders from me, and they do what I tell them to.
I reckon you don't know much about this here Cisco chip, do you?
Well, what if I don't?
Chances are those boys do. They know that if they rush that shed, a couple of them at least will get plugged for keep.
Well, I ain't scared of that Cisco kid.
Huh? Then why don't you rush the shed?
Well, maybe I will, Woody. Anyway, I reckon some of our bullets have got Cisco and the other one. There ain't been any return fire from that shed for some time.
You go ahead if you want to.
You're coming with me.
Now, listen,
I said you was coming with me. We won't rush the shed. We'll move up on it, slow like.
All right.
Now, come on. We'll go out the back door of the house.
I reckon the boys will hold their fire when they see us sneaking up on the shed.
Have your guns ready, Woody.
Well, maybe you're right, Bax. Maybe the bullets did get him.
It's steady now. We're getting close to that shed.
Where you coyotes, huh?
Hey, jumping snipers!
All right, then. Come on, quick. What has he done to us? That's right, Pancho. Stay free, snake. They run like a rabbit, Cisco.
We're all right here, Woody.
Shut off our hats. There's a mighty close call, Bax.
Buzzards, them sidewinders. Well, let's settle it.
Settles what?
You and me are going to take a couple of the boys and go back to the Kane Ranch. We're going to kill Tom and Ed, and then come dark, we're going to run off their cattle.
What about Cisco and his partner?
The rest of the boys will stay here and keep them pinned down in that shed. And if they ain't killed off them two by the time we get back, they're going to have to settle with me.
Those bandidos right away, Cisco.
Some of them did, Pancho. I do not like it.
Not like what?
They rode in the direction of the Kane Rancho.
You'll see your Tom and see your head?
They might. Pancho, we must go after them.
Look how we leave here, Cisco.
Look. Out this window, Chico.
Uh-huh.
Our horses are now out back of this shed. Of the bandidos who remain, only one can fire out that way.
Buildings in the way of the others, no?
See. We'll have to take the chance that one bandito does not get us.
Pancho with you, Cisco.
Bueno. I'll open the window. You first, Pancho.
But Cisco...
You first. When he starts firing, I will fire back to try to spoil his aim.
You're the boss, Cisco.
And do not get stuck in the window.
Pancho, get out.
Now I will come out. We'll come into his line of fire just about at that bush, Pancho. So when we get there, start running.
Pancho hate to run, Cisco, but Pancho will run.
If I run, Pancho, as fast as you can.
Yes. Bullets come too close, Cisco.
I'll fire back at him, amigo.
No go! Come, no go!
Couple more shots for good luck.
Bravo!
Here. Let us get out of here, Pancho. Up, you.
Go!
There's Tom Kane on his red shirt, Pax. Want us to open fire on him?
No, not yet, you blasted fool. We can get closer than this, eh, boys? Tom don't know we got Joe. At least I don't believe he does.
We got? You mean you got him,
Hey, you're in on it too, Woody, and don't forget it. Now, let me do the talking, you hombres. Whoa. Howdy, Tom.
That's near enough, Fraley.
Oh, what do you mean? We rode over here to see if we could help you. We know your brother Ed's laid up.
I'd like to be able to believe that, but I can't. You ain't ever been this neighborly before.
Well,
Not to mention the times we found some of our cattle in with yours.
Now, look, Tom.
I said that's near enough, and I meant it. Now get back on your horse, Fraley. And you and the rest of your gang get out of here.
That's all. We'll see about that.
You hit him, Fraley.
Misfire. The gun's jammed.
Don't anybody else draw, or I'll let him have it.
He's going back into the house, Pax.
Don't anybody draw.
Blasted gun.
I figure he's hard hit, Pax.
Yeah, but we'll have to break down that door to get at him. Come on, boys. Let's break it down.
We almost back to Kane's Rancho now, Cisco.
Hey, Pancho.
Maybe those banditos not right to say you're Kane's Rancho.
Where else would they go?
Maybe they're right up on the... What's the name of that butte back there?
Call Skeleton Rock Cliff.
Skeleton Cliff?
See.
Maybe they're right up on Skeleton Cliff to get away from Cisco.
Oh, no.
But to look at the Skeletons, no?
Back to the horses are still ahead of us. Ah, listen, gunshot.
Can't you hear them, Cisco?
Look, ha!
Go!
Look, Pancho. Those coyotes are trying to break down the door of the ranch house.
Cisco, fix them.
Hey, look out! It's Cisco! Look out, boy! Look out! Into the Diablo!
Hey! Cut him down, buddy!
Now, if I can shoot that gun out of your hand.
Wait a Cisco.
Oh, now we will pay. Do not reach for a gun, any of you.
Hombres, get away, Cisco.
Let them go for now, Pancho. We can round them up later.
These the ones what give the orders back at the other place.
See, I have an idea. These are the ones we want. Get your hands up, both of you.
Hey, you buzzard, Cisco.
Here, Tom Kane.
That's you, Cisco?
Si, senor. Are you all right?
Reckon so. Had a bullet in the shoulder, but...
Let Pancho in. He will attend to you, senor.
Well, I'll let him in. I don't believe I need help.
Pancho, see.
I will be in as soon as I disarm and tie these banditos.
Hey, you ain't gonna tie me, Cisco. I promise you that.
Do not make promises you cannot keep.
Come on, Woody. Give me a hand.
Me? I'm leaving. You are going nowhere, hombre.
Just let me get my hands on one of them guns.
Not by any means, Bandito. As I'm concerned, you are all through with guns.
See you, Tom Kane. That hurt back, Cisco.
That is good news, Chico. Find some rope, if you will, and tie these two mavericks.
Yes, Cisco.
Reckon you got here just in time, Cisco. They'd have had the door smashed in. I couldn't handle them all.
I am glad we did get here in time, senor.
Pancho tied the mavericks now.
I want to take a look at these horses. I think this is the horse with this flaw in its shoe. I will see. Yeah, here. Up there. Yeah, lift. Oh. See. As I thought. Senor Tom, you can charge these banditos with the murder of your brother.
What? Well, sure. Of course I should have known that.
No, wait a minute, Cisco. You can't prove that.
But we can prove it. You and this other hombre were in this yard earlier today. That bad cast of the horseshoe proves it.
You can't pin any murder onto me. I didn't do the shooting.
Shut up,
You mean this one did the shooting?
Yeah,
I'll kill you for that, Woody.
I doubt that, Bandito. The law will see to it that you kill no one else.
Cisco.
Si, Pancho.
Those killers in the jail now.
Si, amigo. Just where they belong.
You round up most of the rest of the gang.
Oh, one or two got away, but I believe they left this part of the country for good.
Good.
Si, very good. That gang has been a thorn in the side of the people of Billings, Montana for a long while.
Long while.
It is time they were marched away to jail.
Marched away to... March? Never mind, Pancho, Cisco.
mind you, what, Chico?
Time Pancho's Uncle Jose in the army.
Oh, your Uncle Jose was in the army?
Yeah, he marched all day one time. And only moved 2 feet.
He did what?
Moved 2 feet.
Now, wait a minute, Pancho. Your Uncle Jose marched all day and only moved 2 feet?
See, 2 feet.
Well, now, how could that be possible?
Because 2 feet, all Uncle Jose has.
Oh, Pancho!
Oh, Chico!
And so ends another exciting adventure with O. Henry's famous Robin Hood of the West, the Cisco Kid. Be sure to listen again for another thrilling adventure of the Cisco Kid. Cisco Kid was played by Jack Mather, Pancho by Harry Lang.
Welcome to the Diamond K Ranch, folks. Nice to have you join us here for a little visit every day while we bring you tales from the Diamond K. You know, we've got a rip-roaring story for you today, all about the wild woolly West. So pull up a chair and make yourself comfortable.
From the tack room of Ken Maynard's Diamond K Ranch, we're bringing you stories of adventure, stories of circus life, fascinating transcribed tales of the Old West where cowboys still follow the cattle trails, stories of rodeos and parades, colorful legends of the Red Man, hidden gold and buried treasure. The exciting tales from the Diamond K are told by Hollywood's champion of Western stars, internationally famous Ken Maynard. Well, folks, you've heard Ken's invitation to join him in the tack room, along with Tarzan. And while he's getting ready to tell today's adventure, I'd like to invite you young buckaroos to visit with Ken any time you want. I mean with Ken Maynard's Diamond K record album that brings you a storytelling visit from Ken any time you play the records on your phonograph. There's a real Western treat, because you get 2 complete stories and the records are personalized with a message from Ken to you right on the record. He'll say hello and call you by name just like he was there with you, like,
"Hello, Jerry. Hello, Larry. Connie,"
or whatever your name is. Ken will speak to you right at the beginning of the record. And wait till you see the album. There are 2 big 8-inch records made of pure, expensive vinylite that's unbreakable. And both the handsome album and the records have pictures in color of Ken and Tarzan on them. Now, wouldn't you guess a treat like this would be expensive? Well, that's where you've got a surprise, because the whole wonderful album is only $1. Now, where can you beat a value like that? All you do is send your name and address to Ken Maynard in care of this station and Market Records and enclose a $1 bill. Easy? I'll say it's easy, and a whole chuck wagon full of fun. So don't delay. Send your name and address and a $1 bill to Records in care of this station. Now, here's Ken with today's exciting adventure.
Well, sir, folks, my story starts in a pretty little town way out in western Texas called Pecos Pass, nestled in the heart of Maverick Valley. I'd spent the summer in Crystal Springs and was on my way now to help with the fall roundup over on the Lazy J, one of the largest ranches in Texas. Well, sir, I hadn't ridden but 2 or 3 days out of Crystal Springs when I began to hear stories from drifters about the strange happenings in and around Pecos Pass. Cattle rustling, ranches being burned down, and families driven out into the night. That didn't sound right to me. You see, Pecos Pass had always been a peaceful little town. I'd worked most of the ranches all up and down Maverick Valley, so I figured the drifters had gotten their stories a little mixed up. Well, it was sometime the next morning. I'd crossed Milky Wash Flat and was heading through Deep Canyon. And as I rode out into the valley, I saw it. Then I knew it was straight talk I'd heard from the drifters. There ahead of me in a smoldering heap was the remains of somebody's ranch, burned to the ground. I rode closer to take a better look. There was nothing left but the ruins. Stock was gone, not a building was left standing, and not a living thing on the place. I swung Tarzan around to head for town. I wanted to find out what was going on. Then I heard a muffled sound behind me. Turned quickly, but there was nothing there. Then it came again, and I followed the sound to a clump of trees. Then I saw him, a little fellow about 6 or 7 years old, trying to muffle the sobs with his hands over his face. I spoke to him, and he jumped like a scared rabbit and started to run. But I called him again, and this time he stopped. I dismounted and walked over to him. He acted like he was scared to death. I asked him his name, but he didn't answer. Just buried his face in his arms and continued to sob. I figured the little shaver was suffering from shock, so I put him on Tarzan, and we headed for Pecos Pass. As we rode along the dusty road bordered by a sea of waving grass and crossed streams of cool spring water, I got to wondering about the little fellow that I held in the saddle. Who was he? What happened to his folks? And why should anyone want to burn and kill and cause terror in the quiet, peaceful Maverick Valley? Whoever was responsible for this must have a mighty good reason to want folks out of Pecos Pass. When we rode into town, I stopped at old Doc Jordan's. He wasn't home, so I left the boy with his wife. She took the little fellow in her arms, and he started to cry like his heart would break. As I rode toward the sheriff's office, I kind of felt that she would prescribe the best medicine in the world for him. Sheriff's office had changed some since my last visit to the valley. Even the outside looked different. New paint, new sign, and the old-fashioned porch had been torn down. As I opened the door and walked in, I saw 3 men sitting at a table. A deck of cards had been shuffled, and one of them was dealing. They didn't look like deputies, but then I saw a silver star pinned on each vest. 2 of the men I looked at looked like ordinary, hard-faced cowboys. The third was a big man, thick-bodied and brutish, with piggish eyes and a stubble of unshaven beard. The sheriff, a short, pudgy man with an easy grin, was sitting back on his desk. His name was Slade, Tom Slade. I didn't know him. He'd just been elected to the office a few months before. We talked for a while, and the conversation got around to the fires. But he just grinned and said there'd been a little trouble going on, but he was sure that he and the boys could take care of it. Then he said that someone had set fire to a Campbell ranch early that morning, and that John Campbell and his wife and young son had all been killed. He kept on talking, but I only half listened. It had suddenly occurred to me that I didn't know the youngster's name, that it could have been the Campbell ranch where I found him. Then I told the sheriff what I knew, that the boy was all right and that he was over at Doc Jordan's. Well, right then the card game was over, and one by one the deputies left the office. And as the big man with the piggy eyes passed in front of me, he said something to the sheriff that I couldn't make out. Then he pointed toward the horses tied in front, and the sheriff nodded his head and said, "You go along. I'll catch up with you later." As the door closed, Sheriff Slade got up from his chair and crossed the room. Then he looked at me for a long time before he said, "It's sort of odd, stranger, that you're so interested in these fires. If I didn't already have an idea who's at the bottom of all this trouble, I'd be mighty suspicious of you." Well, I wanted to tell Dan McGrady, who owned the Lazy J, that I was in town and ready to go to work, so I started out across the valley. It was almost sundown when I rode into the ranch. I told him what I'd seen that morning. He looked at me for a minute, then his voice got dead serious. "You know, Maynard," he said, "something's got to be done mighty quick. If this keeps up, there won't be a ranch left in the valley. Whoever's doing this is pretty clever. They haven't left a trace." Well, sir, I went out to the corral to unsaddle Tarzan and put him away. We'd been riding pretty hard for the past few days. I reached down to untie the cinch and noticed something on the stirrup. I hurried to the bunkhouse and buckled on my guns. A whistle for Tarzan. As he galloped past, I reached for the horn and swung into the saddle. A few seconds later, we were racing across Maverick Valley toward the little town of Pecos Pass. Well, when I stopped in front of the Jordan house, the old doc was standing on the porch. As soon as I saw him, I knew something had happened. He ran to the gate to meet me. "Maynard," he yelled, "the Campbell boy has disappeared." Now, if I should stop right here in my storytelling, it might be what you'd call in Hollywood a cliffhanger. That's what we call the movies where the fellow is hanging by one thread of a fraying rope with no way to save himself. And then they tell you the serial will be continued next week. But I won't make you wait. I'm going to finish my story in just a second. Now, speaking of cliffhanging, if you young buckaroos are anything like I was when I was a kid, you're kind of hard on clothes. Climbing fences and trees and playing football in the back lot, tearing around in general. In fact, I'm still hard on clothes when I'm practicing stunt riding, shooting and roping and so on. That's why I sure do take the My Fancy K shirt. It's a real rough and tumble Western shirt that can take a lot of wear. And when it's dirty, Mom can just toss it in the suds, hang it out to dry. It doesn't need to be pressed unless she wants to. Now, if you've got a hankering for a K shirt like I wear, in a comfortable cotton knit, the fellow makes mine says he'll make one up in your size. Just tell us what size you wear. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, or 12. Send your name and address to K-Shirt in care of this station and enclose a $1 bill, because this fellow isn't rich and he can't give 'em away. It's a mighty pretty shirt if I do say so myself. About the color of a palomino, with a blazing red Diamond K brand and pictures of Tarzan and me on the front. So if you want to join the gang that's wearing the Diamond K brand, send your name and address, your size, and only a $1 bill to K-Shirt in care of this station. Now let's get back to the story of Maverick Valley. The little camel boy had disappeared. As I raced toward the center of town, I had no idea where to start to look. But I played a hunch and hid back in the shadows across from the sheriff's office. I don't know how long I'd been there waiting for something to happen, but I was about to give up and try somewhere else when I saw the big deputy with the piggy eyes and unshaven beard go into the sheriff's office, then come out again with 2 saddlebags. He mounted his horse and started toward Deep Canyon. I followed him a safe distance behind. Must have been near morning when he stopped at a little cabin hidden from view by heavy trees and foliage. He dismounted and went inside with the saddlebags across his shoulders. I waited till all was quiet, then I crept to the window to look in. There was the boy. He was safe. They'd tied him to an old chair and covered his eyes and mouth with a dirty piece of cloth so he couldn't cry out. The big man and 2 hard-faced deputies were filling the saddlebags with dynamite. For a moment I was puzzled. Then suddenly I knew what their plans were. They weren't real deputies. They meant to stampede the cattle at the Lazy J Ranch. I'd seen it done before. I knew what would happen when 5,000 cattle ran wild through the streets of Pecos Pass. The little town would be destroyed. I knew now that I'd have to have help. I couldn't leave the boy. Then I remembered a trick I'd used once before, and it had to work now. Everything depended on it. Quickly I wrote a note to Dan McCready, fastened it to the saddle, and started Tarzan down the trail toward the Lazy J Ranch. I watched him till he disappeared through the pass. As I turned back to the cabin, I saw the 2 hard-faced cowboys throw the saddlebags of dynamite across their ponies and start for Maverick Valley. Well, sir, the time had come now for action. Through the window, I saw the big man start for the boy. Quickly, I reached for my gun, threw open the door. As the big man turned, I saw the flash of steel, but he was seconds slow. I pressed the trigger, and his gun dropped to the floor, and he grabbed his wrist in pain. Well, sir, it was early morning when we rode into Pecos Pass. Crowds of people were grouped along the streets. Doc Jordan and Irish Dan McGrady were there to meet us. I handed the boy to Doc. See if you can take better care of him this time, Doc, I said. Then I turned to Dan. Where's the sheriff? Old Dan grinned and said, right where he belongs, locked up tight. When we confronted him with your evidence, he confessed everything. Then his voice boomed out. Tell me, Maynard, how'd you know he wanted this land for all? Well, I whistled for Tarzan when he trotted over. I pointed to the saddle. See them sticky black spots? That's oil rubbed off the boy's shoes. Must have been seeping through the land someplace on the camel ranch. Then old Dan chuckled and said, you know, that Sheriff Slade was a pretty slick one, all right. Sure had me fooled. Then Doc Jordan spoke up. Well, he might have got away with it if he hadn't gotten panicky about the boy seeing him. This young fellow couldn't identify him. Dan's mouth dropped open. What do you mean? He saw Slade, didn't he? No, sirree, Doc said. He didn't see him the night of the fire. It was impossible. You see, the young fellow was blind. Temporarily blind from the shock.
Jumpin' horn toads, Ken. That story sure had me hanging on the edge of the fence. Folks, Ken will be back in just a minute to tell you about his next exciting story on Tales from the Diamond K. And while he's deciding which one it's going to be, I want to remind you, if you haven't sent in yet for your Diamond K record album, you young buckaroos are missing a real story adventure. The Diamond K record album is especially for children, filled with 2 action-packed stories of the Wild, Wild West, and told by Hollywood's champion of Western stars, Ken Maynard. The big 8-inch records are unbreakable, remember, of pure vinylite. Ken tells 2 complete stories in the album and says hello to you personally and calls you by name right on the record. Now, if you kids haven't saved enough money from your allowance yet, maybe Mom and Dad will advance you the small sum of $1, or you might suggest it's a swell gift for your next occasion. Yes, sirree, that's all it costs for this wonderful Diamond K album of records. Just send your name and address to Records in care of this station and enclose a $1 bill. We'll bet you've never had so much fun for $1.
Well, folks, it's time to close the tack room door again at the Diamond K Ranch. Till next time we meet. I've got another thrilling story to tell you called Broken Bridge. Till then, this is Ken Maynard and Tarzan saying so long. In the meantime, get them $1 bills in the mail for some real Western fun.
You've been listening to Tales from the Diamond K, told by Ken Maynard, internationally famous cowboy and Hollywood's champion of Western stars. Tales from the Diamond K was transcribed and produced in Hollywood.
It's Hop Along Cassidy. With action and suspense, out of the Old West comes the most famous hero of them all, Hop Along Cassidy, starring William Boyd. Now to our story, 10 Strike Gold.
Gum, that's just how I figures it.
What did you figure that way, California?
Why, didn't I say, Hoppy?
Nope, not a word.
Funny, must have figured it myself.
Must have.
Well, I was thinking. Something's come over Hopalong Castle.
You don't say.
Here we are, come all of 60 miles, nigh on to 10 Strike, and nary a bit of trouble do I have to haul you out of.
Well, a man has to tend to his business sometime. If the Bar 20 Ranch can buy a string of blooded horses we is for sale at 10 Strike, well, it doesn't seem so peaceful now, California.
Probably some fella just hunting himself a rabbit.
California, you know nobody hunts rabbits with a Colt. Hold on there, boy. Ho.
Maybe the poor fella don't own a rifle. Now, let's not get mixed up in nothing, Hoppy.
Look down the arroyo, California.
Pretty, ain't it? Awful dry, though.
Along the road. You can see as well as I can.
And dusty, too.
The stagecoach and a road agent. It's a hold-up. Let's go.
Looks like he shot up the express messenger already.
And the driver's getting in the strong box. Guess we better stop that right now. Steady, boy.
Right with you, Hoppy.
Looks like he's scaring off.
That don't indicate he's so mighty scarable. Leastways, it don't bother his shooting hand none.
He's had enough. He's running off.
High-tailing it for the hills.
Anyway, you dropped the money box. Hold your fire, California. He's out of range now. Hey, driver, how's your partner?
He's shot. Can't you see?
Sure, we can see, but how bad is it?
Not too bad, fellas. Just wing me in the arm.
Hoppy, how about going after that confounded road agent?
No chance with our tired horses, California. That fellow was riding a blooded roan, and our horses haven't had a handful of grain for 2 days.
Doggone, I'd sure like to catch me a stagecoach robber, I would.
Better move over, driver, so I can climb up there and look at your pal's wound.
Who are you, stranger, to give me orders?
The name's Cassidy.
He's Hopalong Cassidy.
Yeah? Fella from Bar 20, you gets around a lot, eh?
I get around some.
Yeah, so they say. Always around.
Mind telling me your handle?
No, not at all. Hardhead Brophy, they call me.
Very appropriate. Now, do you mind moving over?
Yeah, I guess not. He wouldn't have got shot if he'd had any sense. Bandit had a drop on us, and this fool kid went for his gun.
Well, that was his job, isn't it?
And the fella might have shot me, too.
My, that would have been too bad.
What's that?
Me? I'm California. Pleased to meet you, Hardhead. Say, how come you don't have no passengers?
A special gold dust run. Passengers might get shot up.
Now, let me see your arm, messenger.
Rance Morgan's the name, Mr. Cassidy. I've heard a lot about you.
This doesn't look too bad. If we can stop the bleeding, I'll just cut your shirt sleeve here with my knife and tie a tourniquet around the arm for a while.
Fool kid, messenger. Might have got both of us killed.
You got any real big objections, Brophy? Save them for later. This boy should get to a doctor. Sort of quick, if you don't mind.
Trying to be a hero.
In California have just interrupted a stagecoach holdup in time to prevent the theft of the strong box. But not before Rance Morgan, the express messenger, is shot.
You know, Rance, it just doesn't seem trail-wise to try a fast draw when a road agent has a drop on you.
That was the parson.
Local bad man, huh?
Plenty bad. He wears a preacher's frock coat, a black hat, and mask. And I intend to get him.
Looks like you invited him to get you first. You're sort of young to be an express messenger, aren't you?
I'm 20. That's old enough. I've got a special reason for doing this job.
Oh? That sounds like revenge.
My brother was a messenger, and my girl's father drove stage. The parson shot both of them. In the back.
Rance, I begged you not to do it. I begged you.
I know, Molly.
Now, Miss Laird, Rance will be all right. The doctor said so.
He might have been killed. And what for?
Why, a fella naturally wants revenge.
What good does that do? Would it bring anybody back to life?
No, ma'am, it sure wouldn't. But if he'd killed the parson, why...
California.
You know how I feel, Molly. I'll never be satisfied until I get the parson for what he's done.
I don't want revenge, Rance. I want you alive.
A man don't feel right, Miss Laird, if he can't settle a score.
Gun crazy. That's what all of you are. Just plain killing gun crazy.
Miss Laird, excuse me for saying so, but your friend Rance should be kept quiet.
I'm sorry, Mr. Cassidy. And I do appreciate...
Don't mention it, miss. And now if you could direct me to a general store where I could buy some grub for us, I'd be obliged.
I've got to get some things for Rance that the doctor ordered, so you might go with me.
Thank you, miss.
That is, if I could leave Rance.
Why, I'll be all right, Molly.
I'll be pleased to stay till you get back, and meantime, I can clean my guns.
California.
Oh, that's just in case we find some use for 'em, Hoppy.
Mm-hmm.
Just sorta in case.
Mighty unfortunate introduction, Miss Laird, but you know, we came to 10 Strike to do some business with you.
With me, Mr. Cassidy?
Now, we heard down at the Bar 20 that you had a string of fine riding stock for sale.
Oh, I do. You see, Dad had saved for years to buy our little ranch, looking forward to retirement. He was just about to...
I know, Miss Laird.
I shouldn't let it get me like this, but Dad's hobby was fine horses, and now I have to sell them all. Oh, if he knew Hopalong Cassidy was interested in his horses, he'd be real proud.
Well, they'd get gentle care at the Bar 20.
Could you come out to the ranch this afternoon to look them over?
Oh, I think California and I'd be pleased to.
Fine. Oh, this is Lou Gribble's general store.
Well, do stores stay closed in the middle of the day on 10 Strike?
Things have been awfully quiet since some of the mines closed down. I guess there's not enough trade for... Oh, there's Lou coming down the street.
Well, I hope he's got the supplies I need.
He's been so good to me since Dad was killed. Treats me like a daughter.
I'm coming, Molly. Coming.
Hasn't Lou a funny walk? Just like a little boy. Don't hurry, Lou. We won't run off.
You closed up to go fishing. I just heard what happened to Rance. Awful. It's awful.
It is. But he was lucky this time.
Well, I'll open up here, and we'll be in business in a jiffy.
You've heard of Hopalong Cassidy, Lou.
Hopalong Cassidy? I sure have. It's a real pleasure to know you. Yes, sir, a mighty real pleasure.
Thank you, Mr. Gribble.
Now, enter my emporium. What you don't see, we ain't got. Shall it be, ladies first?
Oh, no. Mr. Cassidy's in a hurry, I know, and I've time.
Well, our wants are simple. Just a side of bacon, 10 pounds of flour, same of jerked beef, and a sack of oats for the horses.
Yes, sir, Mr. Hopalong. Say, was it really the parson what robbed the stage?
So they say. I don't know too much about this parson. No, nothing but a brief shooting acquaintance, Mr. Gribble.
But Miss Laird sure is some fine stock in this here corral, Hoppy.
Yeah, I'd say her late father was a pretty good judge of horse flesh. Too bad she doesn't take care of her stock, though.
Oh, now, Hoppy, seeing she's a female, I think they look right smart. All curried, combed, and grain-fed. And...
All except one, California. That big jumpy roan on the other side of the corral.
Say, now, he do look like he's in a sweat.
Now just drop a loop around him and get acquainted.
Think Miss Laird will see us from the house?
Well, what about it? Aren't we inspecting her horses? Well, here goes.
smack dab around his neck.
Yeah, boy. Nothing to be nervous about.
He sure is a beauty.
Take it easy now, old fella. Take it easy. You know what I'm thinking?
I don't know, Hoppy, but this here horse has been rode hard and unreasonable not long ago.
Right. And turned loose without a rub down. Suggest anything, California?
Yeah. The parson was riding a big roan, wasn't he?
With a white stocking on the off hind leg.
Just like this horse. Hoppy, you don't think the parson couldn't be...
Molly Laird? Hardly California, not a lady road agent.
But if her horse was used in the holdup...
Now, let's not jump at conclusions. Might have been barred. Might be a different horse.
We could find out sure easy enough up at her house.
We might. And we might not, seeing that Miss Laird seems to have a caller.
Why, that's that stage driver, Brophy.
But, Mr. Brophy, I don't really know what business we have to talk over.
Well, you know, your pa was a special friend of mine, and I got to take care of his daughter.
I'm doing very well, thank you.
But you might not, honey, when you find out what I know about you and that holdup today.
I don't know what you mean. Please.
What's wrong with putting my arm around a pretty girl, huh?
I don't like it.
Oh, now, honey. You know, a girl who's mixed up with road agents can't be too choosy.
What?
Not so innocent, little sweetheart. Now, how about us getting to be real good friends?
No.
Little kid?
Get away. Get out.
You quiet down. I happen to know the horse that was used in the hold-up today was your horse.
Let me go. Stop.
You heard the lady, Brophy. Let her go.
Oh, Mr. Cassidy.
What's it to you, Cassidy? I'll teach you to butt in, you.
Look out, Hoppy.
I saw that haymaker hard head. Not catch this.
Look, this is the last one you'll see.
Sorry to upset your home this way.
They don't call me hardhead for nothing.
Hoppy, you knocked him plumb through the screen door.
You aren't hurt, are you?
No, thanks. But his head is kind of hard.
Look at him, laying outside there in the grass, just as sweet and peaceful as if he was a snoozing. The no-good sidewinder.
Oh, you skinned your knuckles.
It doesn't hurt much.
We heard that mule skinner pestering you as we was walking by the porch.
She mentioned one of your horses, I believe.
Oh, it was nothing. Nothing at all worth repeating.
Well, I was just a little curious. One horse in the corral's been ridden hard and not even rubbed down.
Really?
Just thought I'd mention that someone's been mighty careless of your stock.
Oh, I didn't know. Thanks for telling me.
You ride much, Miss Molly?
Me? Oh, I don't get the chance. You see, the horses get so little exercise, I let most anybody who happens to need a horse borrow one.
Well, Miss Molly, with all the mysterious holdups and killings that are going on, it might be wise to be careful about who gets a hold of your horses.
Yeah, might be somebody who traces a stage robber's horse to its home corral and figure the wrong way about.
And it might also be that if some folks wouldn't get so interested in other people's business, there wouldn't be so many killings.
Well, when a man's shot at, he naturally wants to get the fellow who tried to kill him.
He'd show more sense if he'd leave us alone.
I don't quite follow you, Miss Molly.
I think it's clear enough. You're doing nothing but stirring up more hatred and revenge and death.
Then you'd rather we just leave the whole thing alone.
That's exactly how I feel. And the sooner you learn that, the quicker we'll find peace around here.
Despite the fact that Molly Laird flared up and demanded that the matter of the killings not be pursued, Hoppy still intends to transact his business deal with her. He is arranging with Mr. Bowers, the banker, to buy the herd of horses that roam Molly's range.
Well, that signature seals the bargain, Mr. Bowers.
Not as high a price as Molly Laird might have gotten, nor as low either.
If I was in Hoppy's boots, I wouldn't be buying at all after the way she talked to us.
You can take the horses any time that it's convenient, Mr. Cassidy. Now, I'm a busy man, so if you'll excuse me...
Just a minute, Mr. Bowers. I'm a stranger in these parts.
So I notice.
Observing man, ain't you?
California. I was a little curious about that holdup I witnessed today.
Were you?
Yeah. Do you think this frock-coated masked road agent is a local man?
How should I know?
You might be interested, seeing as how 2 citizens' attend strike has been planted in Boot Hill because of his playful use of their backs as targets.
How do you know it was the parson who shot them in the back?
Well, that's what Rance's brother said when he was dying.
Well, bandit though he is, until that time he had a fair and square reputation, as road agents go. He was known as a man of courage,
Seems like I'm attacking the reputation of a favorite son of Ten Strike, California.
Mayhap this here hold-up man's a sort of local hero.
Yeah.
You two are strangers here, and I'll give you credit for not knowing that we like to take care of our own troubles.
So I see.
This here's the second person to get sore when you criticize this parson fella.
Now, is there anything else?
I guess we can take a hint. Come on, California.
Bull, the saddle, bird, sunfish, and mean, cantankerous, rambunctious, ornery cayuse as I ever sidled up to. Why, why, Hoppy, I'm so darn sure I'm speechless.
Well, if you're speechless, California, I hope I never find you in a talkative mood.
Why, that pigeon-toed rascal. Say, did you notice how he laid his ears back when you mentioned that bandit?
Yeah, he is pigeon-toed, isn't he?
Oh, say, here comes Rance Morgan himself.
Well, must be feeling pretty good to be up and around.
Oh, I was afraid I might not see you before you left Ten Strike, Hoppy.
Oh, I get a feeling we'll be around a short spell.
Is that what got you up and around, Rance?
Well, actually, no. The stage superintendent wanted me to come to the office for an emergency.
You want to take care of that arm.
Well, thanks to you, I didn't lose much blood, and as long as I carry it in the sling, it doesn't hurt too much.
Your emergency doesn't include another holdup, does it?
Well, we're afraid of one. You see, there's an extra-large shipment of gold dust that has to go out tomorrow. Special run, no passengers.
Oh, you ain't in no condition to ride express messenger.
No, and we're short-handed. But I can drive the team. Even Brophy's supposed to have a day off tomorrow.
Expect he's going to have an off day, too.
Huh? I don't follow you.
We'll explain that later. Were you going to suggest something?
Now, Hoppy, don't talk yourself into nothing. We get horses to drive back to the Bar 20.
Mm-hmm.
We already had a shooting scrape, a fight, and got the banker mad at us. We already... Well...
Yes, California?
We're interested. Dagnabbit.
Well, Hopalong, I told the superintendent about you being here, and, well, he wondered if you two might do us the special favor of riding that gold shipment through.
We do have a lot of work to do at the Bar 20, Rance.
There's no denying that everybody knows about this gold. About $50,000 worth. I guess that's enough to tempt the parson.
Yeah. And I'd like one more chance to be around when that parson is tempted, son.
Get on there, boys. Rustle.
Hoppy, how do you figure if this parson gets the drop on us?
Well, if the road isn't blockaded, we'll try to find our way by him.
Most of these fellows depend on surprise. We'll turn the tables.
And if the road is blocked?
Then I'll try to swing the stage around quickly to give us some protection.
And Rance, if the parson does jump us, leave things to California and me.
Oh, sure, son. We're used to this sort of thing. Don't bother us a bit. Why, we'll give him back shot for shot.
It's the parson.
Hoppy, do something.
Like you're going to help me.
You shot the gun out of his hand, Hoppy.
Now he's ducked behind that bush. Maybe this will bring him out.
He's skedaddling.
Get on off this stage, quick. Let's get our horses.
He'll get away.
We can trail him, Rance.
Well, I'm taking no chances.
We'll bring him back.
I want that killer dead. Dead with my bullets in him.
Doggone. You dropped him like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah. Wish I'd put a few more in him just for good measure.
We could have brought him back, Rance. We had the advantage.
Whose side are you on, anyway, Hoppy? I thought you came out to help me get the parson.
I came out to try to bring justice, Rance, not to see vengeful lead pumped into a man.
Well, he'd have hung anyway. What difference does it make?
Just the difference between law and mob rule.
Well, I haven't time for this lecturing. I've got a gold shipment to think about.
Well, I'll try to get through these bushes and take the parson's body back to 10 Strike.
It ain't going to be easy, Hoppy. He's out there in the thick of it.
You ride along with Rance, California.
I don't need anybody. Things are going to be safe around here now that I got the parson. Even if some folks don't think I should have. Get up there.
I don't like to see you ride on alone, Rance.
You tend to that dead skunk, and I'll tend to my gold. Wish I could wait to see who he is, but I haven't time now.
He's sure in a powerful hurry, Hoppy.
Yeah, and he's pulling a lot of gold. Well, let's get this over with. You cinched, Titan?
Yep.
Now, let's cut down through this gully. We're going to have to ride through that manzanita.
Guess the parson's horse is plumb back to 10 Strike by now. Them bullets sure scared the poor critters.
Did you see his body?
Right through here, I think. What's that?
It's coming from down the road there.
Where the stage is.
Yeah, I knew there'd be trouble when I let that fool kid ride on alone. Come on.
But, son, there's $50,000 worth of gold missing.
But I tell you, it was the parson. I killed him, and still he robbed me.
Well, weren't you alerted against attack?
Oh, he was on me before I knew it. He took my gun.
There's something that looks mighty like a gun right here.
Oh, this is another one I had in the stage. I shot at him as he was riding off.
Then those were your shots we heard.
I guess so. The parson didn't fire any.
Most dead men don't.
But you've got to believe me. He rode up here. The parson.
I believe you, Rance.
Well,
You
Hoppy,
see the footprints here?
But that bandit's dead, Hoppy. Out in them bushes in the road. Dead.
Nobody lives with that much lead in him. But he came back.
I've got to finish the job I started, California. I've got to go back and get that body.
Huh? Well, I'm stark raving mad, I guess. Here you tell Rance you believe his story about the parson holding him up.
I do.
Then you want to go out and get the body of the parson who's been dead all the time.
Can't you do anything but ask questions? So long, California. I'll see you back in town.
Hoppy, you sure are the most unconcerned man I ever did see.
Why should I be concerned, California?
Why, with the bandits being killed and bandits still running loose, and you asked me to take a walk to the bank.
That's right. Just go into the bank and take a look. If things are the way I think they are, you know what to do.
Sure, I know what to do, but that don't mean I like to do it. Now, look here, Hoppy. What for did you take that road agent's body up to Laird's barn?
Why, it seemed a convenient place to take it, California.
Convenient? Would you mind telling me what you were aiming to do meanwhile?
Oh, I thought I might drop into Lou Gribble's store here and get some beans. I forgot to buy them yesterday.
Beans? Oh, sightseeing in a bank. And at a time like this, why, you're the oddest fella I ever did see.
Why, hello, Mr. Hopalong. What can I do for you?
I came in to buy some beans, Mr. Gribble.
Beans, eh? Say, you're quite the hero around town now you killed the bandit.
I didn't kill anyone. Rance shot the parson.
The parson, huh? Tell me now, who was he?
Well, I think we ought to wait until the county sheriff arrives before we start announcing all the details. After all, there's another bandit loose, you know.
So they say, so they say. You got any IDs?
Only that I need about 5 pounds of beans before I start back to the bar 20.
Oh, sure. I almost forgot. I'll get 'em right away. Mighty fine weather we're having, isn't it?
I've been noticing that. Hasn't rained for a week, has it?
No, sir, it sure isn't.
Pick him up! The parson, a masked parson.
No, it can't be. You're a ghost.
I'll just relieve you of that 50,000 in gold, Lou Gribble.
Brophy. No, they killed you. I saw you dead myself. It's my gold now.
That gold? Give me that gold.
If you're not dead, I'll make sure. I'll kill you.
Get out, California.
Are you sure you're all right, Mr. Cassidy? I was terrified when I heard all the shooting.
Sure, not a scratch.
By golly, the lead sure did fly awful fast. If Hoppy hadn't been lightning fast in the draw, Gribble would have ventilated my carcass.
You really did a convincing imitation of the parson, California. You had poor Luke Gribble pop-eyed, thinking that hard-head Brophy had come back to life.
Then all along there were 2 parsons, because Brophy was driving the stage when that holdup occurred last week.
That's just why Brophy didn't want Rance to shoot the other parson. He was too good an alibi.
I'm sort of confused. What about this here holdup today? It was Brophy's body out there in the bushes?
Yeah, when I returned, I found it turned over and unmasked. There were footprints all around it, matching the footprints in the road by Rance's stagecoach.
Doggone. Even though Lou Gribble was hightailing it with the gold, he couldn't resist stopping to see who the other parson was.
But how did footprints tell you that the bandit was Gribble?
They were pigeon-toed prints, Miss Molly. And there are very few pigeon-toed men. Only 2 in this town.
Yep, Lou Gribble and the banker, Mr. Bowers. Hoppy figured that the one with the muddy boots would be the bandit. I took a look at the bankers, and they was shiny. So then I put on the parson's rig and came busting into Gribble's store.
I wanted to scare Gribble into a confession. I didn't figure he'd start shooting at what he thought was a ghost.
I felt like I was on my way to being a ghost for a minute there. You know, Hoppy, I'm awful glad.
And what have you got to be glad about?
Well, if being pigeon-toed can get a fella like Gribble into such a heap of trouble, I'm mighty glad I'm people-toed.
Goodbye for now from Hopalong in California. And here's a special invitation to join them next time they ride out from the Bar 20 when, as usual, I have a hunch they'll get into plenty of action that spells trouble.
There he goes, Tennessee! Get him! Got him! Dead center! That's Jed Sloan, Tennessee Jed. Deadliest man with a rifle ever to ride the Western Plains. With good news about 2 free gifts from the bakers of enriched tip-top bread. I'm aware that Sandy and Rod Roberts are supposed to inherit /M on the death of Joshua Masters. Tennessee is confident that the sudden disappearance of Joshua's will is the work of Bigfoot Tom Bannon and his partner in crime, Rat Boykin. However, when he and Cookstove attempt to foil Bigfoot prisoners taken to Rat's well-concealed hideout and, with their hands tied behind them, locked in what Bigfoot terms an escape-proof room.
They wasn't fooling about this here room, Cookstove.
No, Tennessee. And with that door closed, they ain't a way in the world to get free.
Door and walls is solid, all right enough. You can't even hear a sound in the next room.
Then, Lester, Tennessee, don't just stand there a-talking. Get me out of here.
Now, we'll try the walls first. See if there's any weak spots in here.
Your logs look solid to me, Tennessee.
Yeah, me too, Cookstove. But that's our only hope.
Can the room in which Cookstove and Tennessee are imprisoned really be as escape-proof as it seems? We'll find out in just 1 minute. Suppose you and Tennessee Jed were galloping after a rustler. Suddenly, you see Tennessee throw his lariat. It falls, tightens around the rustler, and pulls him off his horse to the ground. Then, let's say Tennessee asks you to get him loose. Gang, that's the exciting game you can play by getting the dandy double gift the bakers of Tip Top Bread have for you this week absolutely free. Yes, sir. Just send us your name and address promptly, and you'll get first an amazing puzzle that gives you the fun of freeing a rustler from Tennessee's lariat. And second, a special full-length picture of Tennessee Jed himself. But you must act quickly. We have only 2 days left to tell you about this grand free offer. Mail your name and address to Tip Top in care of this radio station right after the show today. Let's see how Cookstove and Tennessee make out in their examination of the room in which they're imprisoned.
Done checked over every log, Cookstove. They solid as rock. How about you?
Very bit of luck, Tennessee.
Looky. What's this down near the floor?
Where, Tennessee?
Right there. You see?
Bottom log ain't solid.
Well, wrap me in cornmeal and call me tamale. A trap door. Not more than 8 inches square.
Too blame small for squeezing through.
Maybe so we can bust her out and at least see where she leads to.
Let's see. It's no use, cook stove. Trap door ain't so stout maybe as rest of these here walls, but she's a good 4 inches thick. Too stout for busting.
Reckon Bigfoot and Rat done geared us a testing these here walls?
Can't say, cook stove, but it's a dead sure cinch we can't hear a sound from them. These here walls are so blame thick, you cannot hear a sound. If there's a way we can escape, it still is to be found.
And too bad, for if Tennessee and Cookstove could overhear, the news from the next room would really surprise them.
Well, the sale is done forged, Rat. Listen to this. I, Joshua Masters, for the sum of $30,000, do hereby sell to Timothy Andrews of Albuquerque, New Mexico, in its entirety, all land, stock, equipment, and buildings comprising /Bar M Ranch. Transfer is same to take effect immediately upon my death.
You're gonna steal the whole spread? Lock, stock, and barrel?
Why not? Might well steal it all as part. Gonna be worth a whole heap when the railroad comes through.
Ain't signed, though. What about Joshua's John Henry?
I've been practicing, Rat. Looky this.
Pretty slick. Joshua himself couldn't tell one from t'other.
Right, Rat. And with Joshua's name forged to this here bill of sale, we's landowners, instead of Sandy and Rod Roberts.
Just the same, though. Only way to make dead sure Tennessee and Cookstove don't find out is kill 'em off.
No, Rat. I ain't above killing, and a gent begs for it. But there's no sense in needless murders.
You're too easy going, Bigfoot. Don't forget Snake Edwards.
Snake? What about him?
He used to work for Bart Masters in his Alhoot days. And before it came out, he's uncle to Sandy and Rod Roberts.
What difference that make?
Could make a heap. Suppose Bart Masters dropped word to Snake he wanted /Bar to go to Sandy when Joshua died.
In which case, Rat, there'd be no choice but kill 'em off. But long's Tennessee and Cookstove don't know, they stays alive.
I wonder if Snake was taken into Bart Masters' confidence. Perhaps his conversation with Sheriff Tate at Circle S Ranch will give us a clue.
Hi. What's up, Sheriff Tate? What brings you to Circle S?
A little light on the time you was riding Alhoot, Snake.
Listen, hombre. You'll stay healthy a heap longer by not asking questions.
Now, don't get me wrong, Snake. It ain't you I'm interested in. It's Bart Masters.
Bart's dead and buried going on a year. Everything important come out at his trial. So leave it go at that.
Now, looky, Snake. When Bart is alive and courting your niece Sandy, he dealt Circle S a heap of trouble.
I didn't know Sandy was my niece then. And Bart? Well, he went and got himself killed to make up for his misdeeds. Ain't that enough?
Well, sure, Snake, sure. But Tennessee figures maybe so Bart counted on doing even more.
Hey, what are you driving at, hombre?
Well, last night, /Bar Ranch house was broke into. Joshua's safe was blowed open and his will was stolen. And this morning, the other copy turned up missing at the bank.
So what's that got to do with Snake Edwards?
Tennessee figures Bigfoot Tom Bannon's behind it.
Bigfoot stealing a will. Don't make me laugh.
Steals the will so the heirs can't claim /Bar. Then forges fake bills of sale to whatever part of the ranch he wants.
Could work. 'Cause if and there's no will, it'll take a heap of time to settle Joshua's estate.
Snake, how much of a job do you figure it'd be to forge the John Henry on Joshua's will to a fake bill of sale?
Blasted no job at all for a gent what's handy with a pen.
Well, that's how Tennessee figures. So he's curious to know if Bart ever said anything about what had happened to Slash Bar when he died.
Bart Masters had a heap of savvy, Sheriff. When he come to his senses, he is truly sorry for all the misery he caused Sandy and Circle S.
But, Snake, Bart left Slash Bar to Joshua.
I know that, Sheriff. But this here's my idea for what it's worth. Bart wanted Sandy and Rod to inherit Slash Bar when Joshua died.
Well, Snake, if Slash Bar ought to go to Sandy and Rod, them young'uns is darn sure are gonna have it.
Snake made a good guess, didn't he, gang? For we know his suspicions are 100% correct. But can they be proved in time to prevent Bigfoot Tom from stealing Slash Bar land? We'll look in on Rat Boykin's cabin, where Bigfoot Tom is hiding out, in just 60 seconds. Time's a-wasting, gang. Just 2 days to go, and it'll be the last day we can tell you about the swell Tennessee Jet puzzle game and picture the bakers of Tip Top Bread are giving away absolutely free to make more friends for Tennessee Jed. Write today for yours. Here's a full-color puzzle that shows a rustler caught by Tennessee's lariat and challenges you to free him. Plus, a special full-length photograph of Tennessee Jed himself, 3 by 4 3/4 inches in size. Write for yours at once. You can't get them anywhere else, so just send your name and address to Tip Top in care of the station to which you're listening. A postcard will do. Write Tip Top to Day Shore, care of this radio station, to get your Tennessee Jet puzzle and photograph absolutely free. At the very moment Sheriff Tate finishes his conversation with Snake Edwards in Rat Boykin's cabin several miles away from Sonora, Bigfoot Tom Bannon has completed the forging of Joshua Masters' name to fake bills of sale on Slash Bar land.
That does it, Rat. Bill of sale is all complete. Now to put 'em on the market, whilst you make sure our prisoners don't get loose to spoil our little deal.
There's no sense in watching over him, Bigfoot. I say kill him off now, 'cause dead men don't need no God.
I figured this here railroad play, Rat, and I'm seeing her through. You stick here.
I furnished this here cabin, Bigfoot. In case you don't know it, there's a trapdoor in that back room, which is gonna come in mighty handy when I open her up. If you'd have asked, I'd have told you, Bigfoot. That there little trapdoor hides 2 of the biggest darn rattlesnakes you ever seen. Yes, sir. All I gotta do is pull this here rope and trapdoor opens. First thing you know, them 2 rattlers discovers Tennessee and cook stove and comes out of the hole. Then they won't be no prisoners for Rat to watch.
So that's what's concealed behind the trapdoor which Tennessee and Cookstove discovered earlier. 2 tremendous rattlesnakes. Listen.
You hear that noise?
Yeah. Sounded like a window sliding open.
Strike a match. Quick. The trap door near the floor on the front wall. She's open.
Well, paint me red and call me Sunset. How come that, you reckon?
Blamed if and I know, Cookstove. 'Cause I ain't got no idea what that there trap door leads to. This much I can tell you. I don't like it. Not one bit.
And Tennessee would like it even less if he knew that trap door, which is now open, is all that separated him and Cookstove from two huge and deadly rattlesnakes. This is Layman Cameron, gang, asking you to be sure to listen again tomorrow at this same time to the next exciting chapter in the thrilling adventures of Tennessee Jed. This week, Tennessee Jed and the Tip Top Bread Bakers salute Boy Scouts on their 36th anniversary. 3 cheers to Scouts of the World.
This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
Wild Bill Hickok! Hiya, folks. Hold on to your hats and pass those Kellogg Corn Pops. 'Cause here comes Guy Madison as Wild Bill and his pal Jingles, which is me, Andy Devine. We got another rootin' tootin' Wild Bill Hickok adventure story for you from that great new cereal with the sweetening already on it, Kellogg's Corn Pops.
Kellogg's Corn Pops bring you Wild Bill Hickok, starring Guy Madison as Wild Bill and Andy Devine as his pal Jingles. Out across the frontiers of the early West came the pioneers, intent on building new, peaceful homes for their families in the land of the buffalo and the Indian. But always with them came the riffraff, gamblers, and gunmen. It was a constant fight between good and evil, a fight that often broke into open warfare. And into this conflict, always on the side of law and order, rode the greatest fighter of them all, scout, sharpshooter, United States Marshal, Wild Bill Hickok. Early one afternoon, on a new assignment, Wild Bill rode a trail into the fertile Bitter Creek Valley. By his side, as always, was his faithful deputy and companion, Jingles.
Well, there's the town of Bitter Creek, Jingles. Only a couple of more miles.
Well, what I want to know is what's going to happen when we get there.
You know as much as I do. Mayor Fogarty of Bitter Creek wrote the government saying there was plenty of trouble and the marshal was needed.
And, of course, they had to send you.
You still have time to turn back if you want to.
Oh, you know I can't do that. I'm hungry. It's 1:30 dinner time, and I still ain't had no breakfast.
Always thinking of your stomach, aren't you?
Well, my stomach's bigger than yours. I could eat a running steer, horns and all.
You know, just to look at it, there's nothing wrong with this valley, Jingles. Plenty of good grazing.
Hey, Bill, that sure don't sound like mind blasting.
It's not. Notice how they're cutting through that rocky hill?
Well, sure enough, blasting for a right-of-way. Hey, it means they're building a railroad spur into this valley.
Just about the best thing that could happen to the ranchers.
Look out!
Jingles, right above us!
Avalanche coming!
Look out, Jingles!
Right! Hey! Oh, that was too close, Bill. Just way too darn close.
Another second and we'd have been buried.
Oh, when I find out who set off that blast, I'm going to stomp him silly.
Hey, down there! You all right?
We lived through it.
Get down here, mister, and who do you think you are?
Well, I'll tell you in a minute. Just let me get my breath. I'm Ed Johnson, railroad foreman. Hope you're not her.
Well, we ain't, but somebody's gonna be soon as I get out of this saddle.
Hold it, Jingles. Let Johnson explain.
Well, I don't know what happened. We're clearing the right-of-way, but that blast went off way ahead of time. I can't understand it.
Oh, you can't, huh?
Let him finish, Jingles. Maybe it was an accident.
Now, who's that coming?
Oh, that's Sam Cox. He's a cattleman, owns the Circle C over west.
Still at it, are you, Johnson?
Now, hold on, Mr. Cox. This is between me and these two men.
It's between you and every rancher in this valley. This ain't the first time it's happened.
I know that.
See here, Mr. Cox, accidents are bound to happen.
Yeah, like the one yesterday and the day before. You and your railroad gang blasting and killing innocent people.
I can't account for what's happened any more than you can. But we're here to build a railroad, and that's all.
And deliberately kill everybody that gets in your way.
Yeah, and what about us?
Shut up, you.
Huh?
Well, Johnson, you've come as far as you're gonna go.
Just what do you mean by that?
I mean you've done your last killing.
All right, Cox. If that's how you want it...
It's just what I want.
Stay away from that gun.
What? I didn't even see you draw.
Well, you never saw Nat wink its eye either, only it happens and just as fast.
I'd advise you two saddle tramps to drift out of this valley. This ain't your business. The railroad gangs had their way long enough.
Maybe. But there's going to be no more killing if I can help it.
Who are you?
James Butler Hickok, your new United States Marshal.
Only most folks call him Wild Bill Hickok.
Wild Bill?
A name doesn't matter.
Well, Mr. Hickok, I guess I'm as surprised as Cox is, but I'm mighty glad you've come. Now maybe we can get to the bottom of this.
I intend to. Right now, Mr. Cox is taking me into Bitter Creek to see Mayor Fogarty. And if anybody's got any ideas about shooting, forget them.
Mayor Fogarty, this fella says he's the new marshal. Wild Bill Hickok.
Hickok? I sure didn't think they'd send you.
Glad to meet you, Mayor. And this overgrown cowpoke is my partner, Jingles.
Well, howdy, Mr. Mayor, howdy.
He got a taste of what's happening, Mayor, not an hour ago.
I'll tell it, Cox. It's about the railroad spur coming in. The ranchers are fighting mad.
Well, don't make sense.
A railroad brings law and order. Better market for the cattle, land values go up.
I know. But it's the way the railroad's going about coming in, without regard for life or property.
They already blasted the life out of 3 ranchers.
Important people, Mr. Hickok, with families. Feelings running high. There's going to be a first-class war if somebody doesn't stop it.
Mayor, just who were these men that were killed?
All big ranchers. First was Jim Turner 3 weeks ago. Rock slide caught him in a canyon. Art Wheeler got it the same way. And yesterday, a premature blast killed Matt Parker. His wife, Ma Parker's out at the MP ranch, all alone now.
We'll have a look around.
Oh, Mr. Hickok, I've had an office rigged up for the new marshal. First building past the feed store. You and your deputy can bunk there.
Well, we could camp out.
Certainly not. You'd be much better off in this office. Much better off. Come along, I'll show it to you.
All right. Come on, Jingles.
I'd rather look at a good place to eat.
Come in here.
Yeah?
We're in trouble, Mozo. We got a marshal down here, and it turns out to be Wild Bill Hickok.
That's bad?
Sure, it's bad, you chowderhead. Just when we got a war started between the ranchers and the railroad, this has to happen. We got the ranchers scared. They're starting to sell out for next to nothing. And along comes the greatest troubleshooter in the West.
What do we do now? Get out?
No, we don't get out. The boss is out to get every acre in this valley one way or another. And if Wild Bill Hickok gets in the way, he's liable to find himself in real big trouble. Howdy, partners. This is Panhandle Jim, and we're sure getting a real lot of enjoyment out of this Wild Bill Hickok show, aren't we? Now, in my left hand, I'm holding a big box of Kellogg's Corn Pops, and with my right hand, I'm digging in. Now, you rangers who have Corn Pops in the pantry, go out and get them right now. I want to have a little gab fest with you young'uns who haven't tasted Kellogg's Corn Pops yet. Here's what you're missing. Corn Pops are golden hearts of corn, all popped up big and sassy. They're crisp and crunchy, and listen to this. They're already sweetened for you. Eat 'em right out of the box, or for some real chow at breakfast, in a bowl with milk. No sugar needed, mind you. The sweetening's already there. Your partner back with the Corn Pops yet? Good. Ask him for a handful. Now, how's that for a treat? Ever taste anything as downright good as Kellogg's Corn Pops? Now, tomorrow, sure, you'll want to saddle up and ride for the store. Load up on Kellogg's Corn Pops, so you'll have plenty around for breakfast and snacks. Now listen to this little saying I always use. Kids love Pops, moms love Pops, and Pops love Pops. Now let's sit back and see what all the shooting's about.
Now, here are Wild Bill Hickok and his pal Jingles as they ride into the railroad construction camp, center of the war between the railroad and the ranchers.
Men are working awful late.
They'll keep at it till dark.
Hey, did you notice they're all wearing guns?
Yeah, just in case the ranchers come calling. Let's cross the tracks here.
Go on, boy. Go on now. There ain't nothing gonna hurt you. Just feel. Get on. Holy jumping wasshoppers off the track, Bill.
That engine isn't moving, Jingles.
Whoa, settle down, you hammer-headed crowbait. Now, whoa. Now, what's that whistling about?
I think we better have a look in the engine cab and find out.
Come on, boys.
Get over there, boy. Whoop.
Come on now.
Easy.
Hi there, misters.
Well, hello there, Sonny. I didn't know they grew engineers your size.
Well, I'm growed up. I'm 10 years old.
Ah, so it was you causing all that ruckus. Well, don't blow it again now.
I'm Jerry Johnson. My dad's the foreman of the railroad crew.
Uh-huh. Him and us had an interesting meeting this afternoon.
Well, hello there.
Well, evening to you, Mr. Johnson. Evening.
Oh, Jingles, Mr. Hickok.
Hi.
Jerry, this is Jingles and Wild Bill Hickok.
Wild Bill? Gee.
We've been getting acquainted.
Easy, boy, easy.
Mr. Johnson, we had a talk with Mayor Fogarty in town. He didn't paint a pretty picture.
Well, it ain't pretty. I wish there's more I could tell you than that my crew didn't come out here to start trouble. Now, why should they?
Well, just the same, people are getting killed, and you're getting blamed.
I'd take the blame for any negligence, but there's been none. Call them accidents if you will, but there's something going on out here that none of us can understand.
You think somebody else is behind this, then?
Well, there's no use saying something I don't know.
Well, the families of the men might help. We'll be in town, Mr. Johnson, in case you need us.
Well, I can tell you this, Mr. Hickok. If the ranchers come fighting, we'll fight back. I'm here to see that this railroad goes through and on schedule.
Good luck to you. See you later, Jerry.
So long, Jerry. Now, you go easy on that whistle.
Goodbye, Wild Bill. Goodbye, Jingles.
Hi, yeah, ho.
Up, boy. Up. Well, Jingles, we didn't learn anything there.
No, and what's more, I'm downright disappointed.
Why?
Well, didn't you smell that cook shack back there? Johnson could have at least invited us for supper.
Maybe you'd rather have supper with that rancher, Sam Cox.
Not on your life. Cox has got a face like a mountain goat, and what's more, I don't like him.
Wait, Jingles. There's a horse coming.
Oh,
ooh, boy.
Steady.
Ooh.
Hit there! Wild Bill!
Yeah, over here.
Ho there, ho! There's trouble coming.
What kind of trouble?
A bunch of ranchers are gunning for the railroad crew working at Stony Pass. They'll be there any minute.
Up the track?
About 3 miles. The crew ain't got a chance. Thought you ought to know.
Well, come on then.
Not me.
Forget him, Jingles. Get your guns free and come on.
Hey!
Hey!
Stretch, you hammerhead, stretch! Bill, there ain't nobody around here, not even a crew.
Jingles, pull up. Whoa, boy, whoa.
Oh, what do you make of it?
Well, I'm not sure. Either the crew's gone.
Look how bushwhackers.
Jingles, hit the dirt. Spook the horses. Hey! Behind this rock, Jingles.
Bill, that got-eared rider back there was nothing but a decoy. It's a trap.
Keep down.
Staying Gopher here ain't helping.
There's one that won't give us any more trouble.
Well, it's getting darker than a stack of black cats. How can you see?
A rifle shots up there help.
Well, if I get a bead on them dried gulch and hoot owls, there won't be any more flashes.
Wait. Listen.
Horses, they're riding off.
We might as well round up our horses.
Well, ain't we going after him, Bill?
No, it's too dark. Besides, we've got a lot to learn.
Well, ain't that the truth?
You know, Mayor Fogarty told us the last man killed was Matt Parker. Let's look up the Parker spread and have a visit with Ma Parker.
Well, there ain't much I can tell.
Matt was moving some cattle away from the railroad land, and the blast got 'em. Of course, them railroad varmints said it wasn't their fault.
That's what we're here to find out.
Well, what are you going to do now, Ma?
Well, Mr. Cox has offered to buy the ranch. Price ain't much.
You're thinking of selling to Sam Cox?
Might as well. Oh, he's such a kind man, helping all the folks that's in trouble.
Then he's buying the other ranches, too.
Yes, from the families of the men that was killed. He offered what cash he had. Oh, they'll sure be needing it.
But with the railroad, this land will be worth plenty, Ma.
With them intruders sneaking, marauding, and killing?
Looks like Sam Cox doesn't mind living with it. We're sorry to have bothered you, Ma.
Oh, no mind. Ordinarily, I'd cook you up some victuals, but I got no heart for it now.
Victuals, you would?
Forget it, Jingles.
Oh.
We understand, Ma.
Bill, somebody's at the window.
Why, it's Johnson's boy, Jerry.
Wild Bill, I've been looking all over for you.
Jerry, what are you doing here?
Dad said I might find you at one of the ranches. He didn't dare come around the way folks feel.
What is it, Jerry?
Somebody stole a whole lot of boxes of blasting powder from the railroad storehouse.
Blasting powder? Now, who'd have done that?
That's what I want to know, and why.
Dad thought you ought to know. I came soon as I could.
You did right, Jerry. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if that powder turned up real soon.
Hurry, Cox. Shove the powder boxes up under the building. All of it.
I'll forget you're the mayor and give me a hand.
Shut up. I'm the boss. And I'll settle Hickok for good.
I wondered why you gave Hickok this place for an office, Fogarty.
Get moving, will you?
All right. One of the powder boxes busted open when we dumped it here.
Get a hold of it. Drag it out of sight. Uncoil the fuse. Set it good.
When all that stuff goes off, there won't be nothing left of them.
Cox. Hickok and Jingles just rode up out front.
Well, fuse is set. All it takes is a match.
There. Now, come on. Let's get out of here.
I knew it, Bill. I knew that Sam Cox was behind it all the time.
You did, Jingles?
It's nothing but a land grab, and if you're asking me, which you generally
It's one
don't...
thing to suspect Cox, and another to prove his guilt. Get your boots off and let's get some shut-eye while we can.
All right. Just soon as I get some air in this forsaken place the mayor calls an office,
Careful, Jingles. An open window's a good target.
Hey. Seems I smell something burning.
Powder smoke. And there's a fuse along the outside of the building. We're set to go up.
Holy jumping horn flogs. Let's get out of here.
Wait, Jingles. Not yet.
Oh, what, Bill? But that fuse is going fast. Somebody wants us dead.
All right, let them have us dead.
Oh, Bill, are you plumb loco?
Hold it, I said.
But it's going off any second.
Now, Jingles, let's go.
Man, when it comes to excitement, it's tough to do better than Wild Bill. And when it comes to eating, you can't do better than tasty Kellogg's Corn Pops, the cereal that's already sweetened for you. Say, I'll bet you young'uns know how those ranch hands eat after a day on the range. They eat good and they eat plenty, 'cause they need plenty of vitamins and minerals after working hard. And vitamins and minerals in the grub you eat are mighty good for you. Make you big and strong. Well, Kellogg's Corn Pops, good tasting as they are, contain lots of the things you need. B vitamins, vitamin D, with important minerals and food energy, too. That means you can eat all you want. Those golden hearts of corn are puffed up big and crisp. Out of the box or out of a bowl with milk, you don't use any sugar, 'cause the sweetening's already there, and plenty of it. Saying, you know that silver-like bag inside the box? Well, it's pure aluminum and keeps Corn Pops fresh up to 10 times longer. And your ma can use it to store things in the refrigerator or for wrapping sandwiches. But best of all, and already sweetened for you, are Kellogg's Corn Pops. You know who loves Pops. Let's say it together. Kids love Pops, moms love Pops, and Pops love Pops. You said it.
let's get back to Wild Bill Hickok and Jingles.
Keep back in the brush where we can watch, Jingles. We're lucky the moon's out.
My ears are still ringing from that blast back in town. You know, we didn't make it out of that office a second too soon.
Now we'll just wait for their next move.
But why here? I declare, Bill, you don't tell me nothing.
Then I'll show you. Look down the hill, coming up from town.
Merciful catbirds, a mob coming this way. Hey, they're heading for the railroad camp.
It stood to reason they'd have it out tonight.
Look, coming down the hill, the railroaders, all of them. Oh, I want to be in between them. Those two outfits get together, I swear.
Well, that's where we're going to be.
Well, what?
The only way to stop this war is to ride between them.
But that can get awful dangerous.
Some fool pulled a trigger. Let's go. Up, boy. Hey!
Well, where are we going?
Right between them.
But Bill, there's bullets flying around in there.
We'll try to stop them.
Stopping bullets ain't healthy. Fire, fire! You're shooting at the United States government. Now stop it.
Hold on now. All of you.
Yeah, you'd better do what Wild Bill says.
Well, it's Hickok.
Mr. Hickok, we heard you was dead.
Wild Bill Hickok.
Ma, you here too?
But we thought you was dead. The Johnson blew you up.
Who told you that?
Why, Mr. Cox and the mayor that saw it.
Did they? Well, either I'm dead or they're lying. It was Johnson who told me about the stolen powder.
You're calling me a liar? Now, look here, Hickok.
There was a blast, all right, and Jingles and I were supposed to be in it. What's more, we know who said it.
Well, who, Hickok?
Sam Cox and Mayor Fogarty.
Why, you gun-toting Lobo, you can't prove that.
Of course they can't. We haven't even been near any blasting powder.
No, Fogarty? Let's have a close look at your fingernails.
What do you mean?
Or better yet, hold your hands out here. We'll touch a match to them and see if that black stuff under your nails doesn't explode like blasting powder.
Better show your hands, both of you.
Why, I won't stand for this.
Well, here's the match, Bill. Fogarty first.
Well, Mayor, the match is waiting.
No, it was Cox's idea, the whole thing.
Oh, he's lying. It was Fogarty.
No. Cox knocked the ranchers out, placed them under the falling rocks to make it look like the railroad crew did it.
Go on, Mayor. Now tell us why.
Freeze, Mr. Cox. You ain't going nowhere.
Tell him. The match is still burning.
Cox did it, so he could buy up all the land cheap.
Oh, you double-crossing...
Pull them apart. They're all through.
I say they're all through. They'll be hanging from a cottonwood before morning. Get a couple of ropes.
Now, just a minute. It's about time a woman had her say. Now, ain't you ashamed of yourselves? Ain't you learned your lesson the same as I have? Ain't Wild Bill Hickok taught you that mob action ain't the way?
You tell him, Ma.
Now, you let the law take care of Cox and the mayor, and then we'll elect ourselves a honest, decent mayor.
Ma's talking a lot of sense.
Yeah, let's forget this. Guys.
Ma, you said it a lot better than I could have. Thanks.
Well, we've got you to thank, Mr. Hickok, for everything.
Say, Ma.
As long as I'm spokesman for the valley, it's time we apologize to you, Mr. Johnson.
Well, coming from you, Miss Barker, that sounds mighty good.
Ma.
As a matter of fact, everyone's going to chip in and see to it that the railroad goes through on schedule.
Ma.
Now, what's on your mind, Jingles?
Well, Ma, I recollect you saying something about cooking up a mess of victuals, and, well, I sure am hungry.
Then come along. I'll cook you a supper you won't forget the rest of your born days. You too, Mr. Hickok.
We'll take you up on that, Mrs. Parker. Just as soon as Jingles and I put these two men where they belong.
And he don't mean where they feed him fried chicken.
And now, here are the stars of Wild Bill Hickok, Guy Madison, and Andy Devine.
I hope you enjoyed our Wild Bill adventure today and that you'll be with us when we come around again next week. We've got a humdinger of a story, haven't we, Andy?
Have we? I'm getting plumb jittery just thinking about these fellas that we meet up with.
Meanwhile, Andy and I also hope you'll remember to get Kellogg's Corn Pops.
Right. It's the great new cereal with the sweetening already on it.
You bet it is. Andy and I think Corn Pops are great. So long.
See you next week.
Yes, sir, be sure to listen next week, this same time, same station, when Kellogg's Corn Pops again bring you Wild Bill Hickok, starring Guy Madison and Andy Devine in person. Directed by Paul Pierce, music by Dick Orant. This is a David Heyer production. This is Charlie Lyon reminding you, kids love Pops, moms love Pops, Pops love Pops. Kellogg's Corn Pops.
A fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty hi-yo silver, the Lone Ranger. The wild and untamed west of yesteryear, with all of its stirring action, is brought back to us in a vivid word picture as the phantom figure of the plains rides on another exciting adventure. Listen to those silver-shod hoofs racing down the trails of old. The Lone Ranger rides again.
Come on, Silver, old boy. We have a big job to do. Now is waiting for us somewhere ahead. Hi-yo, Silver!
Jim Burton had made himself absolute master of a large district in the Southwest. All who lived in that territory were forced to pay him tribute or suffer the consequences. His men, outlaws and hired gunmen, openly punished those who refused to pay. Homes were stripped, buildings burned, cattle stolen or poisoned. Men who stubbornly defied Burton were murdered. The gang had become so powerful that the law was helpless. In the first scene of tonight's story, we see Burton and his lieutenant, Bat Jordan, riding to the home of a rancher named Tyler.
How much do a man Tyler owe us? Tyler? Now, let me look at the book here. Just a second, Burton. Well, don't be all day finding it. Yeah, here it is. He ain't paid for last month yet. Oh, he ain't, huh? Well, I'll have to teach him a lesson. That's his prize bull over yonder, ain't it? Yeah. All right. That got him.
Hey, what? Stop it! Burton, look at what you done.
No, ain't that a downright shame? I rid over here to have a talk with you, Tyler.
Why, you...
Just an accident, that's all. I'm mighty sorry. I was just looking at my gun and went off and got that bull.
Accident, my eye.
Accidents do happen, Tyler. Yep, that's why it's smart to keep signed up with my company. Now, if only you'd paid up your fee last month, I'd have stood the loss of that bull.
And because I didn't pay you, you shot the critter.
I wouldn't be so quick to say things like that, Tyler. Especially when they can't be proved in court.
Court? Everyone's afraid of you. You run the court the same as you run the sheriff and everything else in this part of the country.
You'd be smart to pay up your dues and button up your lip, Tyler. You know, I think that just the fact that a man has signed up with me is enough to keep thieves and troublemakers away. Now look at how all my clients have been let alone. And look at how thieves have troubled them that ain't been registered with me.
I know. When Bob Frisbee refused to pay you, he lost 100 head of cattle from Poison Pool. Then when he still held out, his house catch fire.
Bad accident. I was sorry to see Bob wiped out like that.
Yes, you was.
And then there was Hank Fenton. My, but he had a streak of tough luck. Remember, Jordan, how them prowling thieves kept busting in his house and taking things? Yeah, he done well to sign up with us. His house is likely to catch fire easy. Yeah. Well, enough of that. Mr. Tyler, you owe just $50. That'll bring your payments right up to date.
I ain't got no $50.
No? Seems to me you sold some cattle last month. Ain't you been paid for it?
I sent the cash to my niece at Red Bluff.
That's bad. That's mighty bad. You should have thought of your own protection.
Look here, Burton. I ain't a man to ask favors, but I've got to. My niece Betsy lost her paw, and she's coming here to live with me.
So you sent her all your money, huh?
Her paw had some debts that she wanted to clean up before she left there. Now, look here, Burton. Just leave me alone, and I'll pay you. I'll pay up in time if you just let me be.
Tyler, I wouldn't do anything to you. You seem to think that I'm behind all the trouble around here.
You ain't fooling me, Burton. Everyone knows about your gang and how you tell them to go to work on anyone that won't pay you.
Well, when do you look for this niece of yours to get here?
As soon as you can. Might be tomorrow, or next week, or next month.
Well, we'll be on our way. I sure hope you'll be able to pay up what you owe, Tyler. Been quite a long dry spell. There ain't no telling when a man's house might catch fire. Yep. Come on, gentlemen. We'll go call on Mrs. Simmons. She's behind in the payments, too. Yeah, come on. Get up here. Get up here.
Tad rabbit. That poor bull. He ain't dead. I gotta take care of him. I'll go get my gun.
Wait, Tonto.
Hold back.
Here, 2 shots? Yes. If there's a third, 3 shots, Tonto. That's always a danger sign. That's right. No man fires 3 shots spaced like that unless he wants help and wants it bad.
Shot come from that way.
Come on, Silver.
Get him up,
Hi-yo,
Tonto. Get him up.
The Lone Ranger and his faithful Indian companion Tonto were riding along the trail when they heard the 3 shots. Throughout the West, 3 spaced shots were known as the signal of distress. The masked rider lost no time answering what he believed to be a call for help, and soon he and Tonto pulled their horses to a stop alongside of old Tyler, who stood beside the dead bull.
What's the trouble here?
Trouble? Plenty trouble. But you're talking to the wrong man, stranger.
How's that?
I reckon you're looking for the boss of all the outlaws, Jim Burton. Well, he went to see poor old widow Simmons. Reckon he'll be drilling her cattle about now.
Didn't you fire 3 shots for help?
Huh?
I'm no outlaw. Came here because I heard 3 spaced shots.
Oh, land sakes, I never thought of that. Gosh, stranger, I didn't mean to signal for help, even though the good Lord knows I need it plenty bad. I fired them shots to put this bull out in his suffering. Jim Burton purposely shot this critter just because I ain't paid him for protection.
I see. Jim Burton, huh?
Yeah.
We hear a story about him. Yes. I didn't think there could be any truth in those stories.
Stranger, ain't none of my affair. And a smart man don't ask too many questions. But why are you wearing that mask around here?
I want you to tell me more about Jim Burton.
Well, if you ride hard for the first White House you come to heading that way, you'll likely catch him talking to Widow Simmons.
Very well.
If she don't tell you all you want to know about Jim Burton, just come on back here, and I'll tell her plenty.
Come on, Silver.
And there ain't nothing that crook won't stoop to, stranger. I had to give him my last penny, or the chances are my house would catch fire tonight.
Doesn't the sheriff do anything to stop that sort of thing?
The sheriff, he can't do anything. No one can ever prove that Burton's the one that does all these things. Not even the United States Marshal can do anything about it.
Why don't all of you band together and refuse to pay him?
There ain't no one with spunk enough to even speak again him, except an old man Tyler and me. I tell you, stranger, just to tell everyone I get the chance to tell. Jim Burton's the orneriest skunk that ever breathed. You go ask Tyler to tell you a few things that he's done.
I'm going to.
The Lone Ranger gathered all the information he could find concerning Jim Burton and his men. Among other things, he learned that many members of the gang were wanted by the law in other sections of the country. This knowledge suggested a way to break Burton's power. In town the next day, the men were gathered in the cafe. The masked man suddenly appeared in the doorway, his 2 heavy 6-guns covering every person in the room.
Hold it! Every one of you stand still.
It's a stick-up.
It's no robbery. The man I want is Scar Lewis.
Hold on there, mister.
Grab him. Take his mask off. Don't fight. I'll show. My hand. Leave your guns alone. Come on, Lewis. You're wanted for murder and Pecos.
Burton, you ain't gonna let him get me.
Burton has nothing to say. Come on.
No, let me go. Let me go.
I'm covering the rest of you with 1 gun. Stay where you are. I'll be back, Burton, for some more of the crooks that you're shielding in this town.
No, let me go. Jim, come on. Help me. Help me. Help me.
During the next 3 days, the townspeople talked of nothing but the daring action of the masked man. We hear Burton and Jordan, with 2 of their men, discussing the matter on the porch of the general store.
He must have taken Scar all the way to Pecos. I reckon he must have. Just who's he think he is, Burton? He ain't no right to drag a man across the county line that way.
And wearing a mask, too.
If he comes back here, Butch, you better duck for cover. You're wanted in Red Bluff.
That's where he's going.
What? Why, you? He come from the side of the building.
You won't get me.
Burton, keep back. You too, Jordan. See you here, stranger. Hey, Silver. They say you're pretty slippery, Butch. I'll put a rope on you.
Stop him, Burton. Jordan, stop him.
And more of your gang that I want, Burton. I'll be back.
Let me down. You can't lug me on your horse like this.
You're going to Red Bluff, Butch. Hip. Hi-yo, Silver!
Jordan, get him!
Within the next 2 weeks, the Lone Ranger struck at Burton's gang 4 more times. He appeared when least expected, forced an outlaw to go with him, and made his escape before his surprised victims could defend themselves. In all, he had taken 6 of Burton's men, and the gang leader was furious. We see Burton with Jordan, considering a method to get rid of the Lone Ranger.
If that man is the Lone Ranger, he wouldn't touch you unless he had proof of something against you. I don't know about that. Maybe we've seen the last of him. I hope not. Jordan, I ain't going to rest till I see that man shot, unmasked, and planted 6 foot deep. As for me, I'm willing to let well enough alone. Well, I ain't. I'll get him, Jordan, if it's the last thing I do.
Mr. Burton.
Huh? Oh, it's you, huh, Tyler? You're about due to pay me some money.
I know.
Did you bring it with you?
I ain't no money.
Well, I ain't waiting no longer.
Now, Mr. Burton.
You pay up or there might be some accidents happen on the trail to Red Bluff. An accident that might affect this niece you're expecting.
Wait. Won't you listen to me?
Money talk's the only language I care to listen to.
There's something we'll talk louder.
What?
Look, you'd like to get this Lone Ranger, wouldn't you?
I'd give up plenty to get him.
Well, if I showed you where you could trap him, would you call what I owe you square and give me your protection for a few more months?
For the rest of your life? That's what it means to me to get that masked man. He's made things too darn tough around here. Do you know where he's at? Well, do you?
Yeah. I think I can find him.
Sit down there, Tyler.
Oh, thanks. I don't mind if I do.
Where's the Lone Ranger?
I ain't saying I know where he is.
You don't know? Why, you old four-flusher, you?
Wait. I know where he will be. Ain't that something?
Where? Come on, speak up. Where?
Now, let me tell it my own way. I got a scheme all worked out so's you can get him.
Let's hear it.
You promised me that you won't make me no trouble.
I told you I wouldn't.
And you won't make no trouble for my niece Betsy?
No, of course not.
All right, then it's a deal. Listen close, gents, and I'll tell you how to get the Lone Ranger.
The curtain falls on the first act of tonight's thrilling Lone Ranger drama. Before the next exciting scenes, please permit us to pause for just a few moments. You will recall that in the first act of tonight's drama, the Lone Ranger learned of Burton's crooked activities. And in a series of daring raids, the masked man carried off those of Burton's men known to be outlaws. In the meantime, Burton tried desperately to defend himself against the Lone Ranger's attacks. Let us pick up the threads of our narrative as Tyler completes the outline of his plan.
Now, let me get this straight, Tyler. You're to show me where to get this Lone Ranger. In exchange for that, I'll see that you're protected from trouble of all sorts.
It's a deal, then.
You don't know when this niece of yours is coming, do you?
No. She ought to be getting here soon, though. She was only going to stay in Red Bluff till she paid up her pa's debts, then take her horse and ride down here.
Maybe if she's good looking, I might take her to a couple parties.
Now, hold on. One other thing I want in that agreement, Burton.
Well?
Jordan or none of the rest of your bunch are to come annoying Betsy.
Oh, now, Tyler. All right, I'll see they don't. You hear that, Jordan? Yeah, I hear it. Now, suppose you tell us how you aim to get this Lone Ranger while we can get at him.
Well, there's an Indian friend of his.
I heard about him. His name's Tonto.
That's right.
What's Tonto got to do with it?
I know where to capture the Indian.
Yeah?
You see, him and the Lone Ranger have been friendly with me. The Indian has been to my place several times already, and he'll be back again.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you was to capture Tonto, the Lone Ranger would blame seem to know about it.
Yeah, I suppose he would.
All right. Then what'll he do?
Come riding like lightning with a couple guns blazing?
You needn't fear about being shot. The Lone Ranger never shoots to kill. He'll come in fighting fair.
What about it?
When he comes along the trail where you men are holding Tonto, making out to torture him so's he'll tell where the masked man is, he'll hit a pitfall.
Pitfall?
Sure. You boys dig a deep hole in the ground, then cover it with branches and things so he won't see it. He drops to the bottom of it, and that finishes it.
By thunder, Tyler, you got an idea there. Why don't we just blaze at him with our guns?
I'll tell you why, Jordan. You ought to know already. You tried to shoot him once before, and one of them silver bullets blasted your 6-gun out in your hand.
And blame near broke my hand.
Of course.
If he sees any of us drawing a gun, why...
He'd let you have it.
That's right, Jordan. Tyler's right.
You wouldn't have a Chinaman's chance of getting him.
Just don't pay no attention to him, and let him come at us and drop into the pit. How do we know he'd get killed?
What if he was to capture a few rattlers and put them in the pit?
Rattlers?
Sure.
When he falls in the pit, they'd finish him.
Sure they would. What's more, I'll provide them.
Can you get him?
Sure I can get them.
Tyler, it seems to me that you're doing a lot to get the man that sort of worked in your behalf. How come?
I'd do anything to make my home safe for my niece Betsy when she gets here.
Yeah, I see. We'll follow out that scheme. Jordan, get the boys together. We'll dig the pit, and then we'll leave it up to Tyler to lead us to capturing that Injun Tonto.
The Lone Ranger had captured all of Burton's men who had criminal records, but Burton himself was still free. Our next scene opens in the masked man's hidden camp. He and Tonto are speaking of the gang leader.
We can't put another one of them in jail, Tonto. The rest have no crimes chalked against them.
That bad.
And even if they had, the one man we must get is Jim Burton.
That right.
None of the others count. We can replace them as fast as we can capture them. Burton is the man who must be jailed.
What jail him for?
That's the problem. There's not a thing that can be proved against him.
You know sheriff here?
I've talked to the sheriff. He's honest, and he'd like to see Jim Burton's power broken just as much as we would. But his hands are tied.
Oh. Here, white feller.
You're leaving now?
Time, Tonto, go see old man.
Very well.
Maybe someday we get Burton feller.
Here's hoping, Kimosabe.
See you by and by.
Yes, Tonto.
Get him up, white feller.
Tonto, riding to Tyler's home, entered the trap set by Burton. The faithful Indian drew his horse to a stop before the ranch house, prepared to dismount, and was immediately surrounded by the outlaws who advanced upon him with drawn guns.
All right, Indian, just be quiet. Oh, what's this? Ice your hands there, Redskin. You'll capture. You got him. Make a move and we shoot. Watch him. We're watching him. Rope him tight. You double-crossed. I'm sorry, Indian, but I had to do it. Pull those ropes tight. You won't get loose. You double-crossed. It was you or me, Indian. No, Redskin. It's you or the Lone Ranger. Yeah, you got just one chance to save your neck. What you mean? Tell us where to find the Lone Ranger, and we let you go free. That Tyler feller, him double-crossed. It was you or me. You better do the same thing and lead us to the Lone Ranger if you know what's good for you. Me not double-cross. Oh. So you figure you won't tell us, huh? That's right. We got ways of making any man talk. Tonto not talk. We'll see about that. Take him to the post, boys. Yeah. Here's where we see just how much pain an Injun can stand. Keep a close watch on him. Don't give him a chance to get free. Jordan, you ride ahead with Tonto and them others. Me and Tyler will follow you. Come on. Come on. Get a boy. Come on. Get a boy. Well. Tyler, it was easier than I figured. Yeah. He didn't put up no fight at all. No, he seen there wasn't no use against such odds. I wonder if the Lone Ranger will come after him. I'm betting on it. Just look at the ground around here, how it's trampled. The Lone Ranger will see the Tonto don't get back to the camp. Then he'll come, see the signs, and follow the trail. I hope so. All you have to do is keep the engine at that post just beyond the pit until the Lone Ranger comes. Good. As he spots our trail, sees where we went around the pit. Shucks, he won't do that. When he gets that close, he'll see his Indian friend being tortured.
and come riding hard with eyes on us instead of on the trail.
That's reasonable, I suppose. How about the rattlers?
Well, Burton, I had to change that part some. What? Yeah. You see, I managed to trap a mountain lion alive. I figured on trying to get bounty for it. When I seen how vicious the critter was, I thought it'd be better to put that in the bottom of the pit instead of the rattlers.
It's all the same. No matter none.
That's the way I figured.
Tonto, bound with strong rope, was carried by Burton's men to a point along the trail that led from Red Bluff to town. There, within sight of the trail, he was tied to the stump of a dead tree. Not far beyond them could be heard the cries of the mountain lion supplied by Tyler, marking the location of the pitfall prepared for the Lone Ranger. We hear the outlaws as they wait for the masked man to appear in search of his companion.
How much longer do you think you'd better wait, Burton?
Yes, we waited about long enough. That blame mountain lion down in the pit smells horses.
Yeah, he's downright hungry.
Reckon I'll move back to cover and have a look at him.
Don't you do it.
Why not?
Them critters can leap higher than a man's head. He might get out.
Tyler's right. He's sure making a plenty of noise.
Yeah, he's pretty hungry. Oh, by the way.
Well?
I hope you made that pit deep enough.
Sure we did. Took a lot of us all night to dig it.
Big enough for a man and a horse to drop in?
Sure.
Well, Burton, why don't you start on the redskin?
We maybe should wait till we see the Lone Ranger coming along the trail.
Oh, what's the sense in that?
Well, you seem mighty anxious for things to get hot for the redskin, Tyler.
Well, taking part in murder don't appeal to me. I want to get it over with.
Murder?
This is your first murder, too, ain't it, Burton?
Mine?
Sure. I figure you never take the risk of killing a man.
Listen to him, Jordan. That's a good one.
Well, have you?
Tell him about the Parker affair, Burton. Yeah, the law ain't never found out about who done for Jack Parker.
Did you?
Well, I wouldn't admit it to the law, but of course... You covered your tracks pretty slick on that job, boss.
And you must have been the one that knifed Hank Green.
Listen to him.
Oh, but I don't reckon you was. Green was a pretty tough hombre. It'd take a sight of nerve for a man to fight him.
Well, I done it.
You did?
Sure. Hey, someone coming. Take a look. Stand ready with them lasses to handle Tonto with.
That ain't the Lone Ranger. That's my niece.
Your niece?
Yeah. She's heading down the trail. She'll fall into that hole.
Stop her. Right ahead and stop her.
We can't. There ain't none of us near to our horses.
If she drops into that, we'll miss getting the Lone Ranger.
Get for the horses. Hurry. They're behind them trees.
We can't get to them in time. There's the Lone Ranger. He was behind them trees with the horses. How'd you get there?
Ride! Ride, mister! Save Betsy! Come on!
He's getting to her.
Thank the good Lord he'll get her.
Look at him travel.
He's got her. He saved Betsy.
All right, Tyler. Now, suppose you tell how he happened to be where he was.
All right, Burton, I will tell. I can tell you now, because you talked all you needed to.
What?
The whole thing was staged just to get you to show your hand.
What's that? Keep your gun on, Tyler. There's something funny here.
You won't think it's a funny. We wanted you to show yourself when all your men is murderers. You done that by setting this death trap.
Well?
Then I got you to talking about other murders you done. You see, Burton? Now there's enough on you to hang you.
Yeah, well, ain't that interesting?
Thought I'd double-cross the Lone Ranger, huh? Well, it was him and Tonto and me that staged the whole thing for your benefit.
I had the Lone Ranger behind them trees to hear what we said. Ain't no one else back there, boss. No. And when Tonto and Tyler are done for, there ain't no one but the masked man to know what was said there. And we're shooting him as soon as he gets in gun range. Get ready, boys.
Oh, no, you won't.
Why?
Because after you gents finished with that pitfall, the sheriff took it over. And now he's got plenty of evidence agin you.
With deputies to back my hand.
What? What are they? They've been hid down there to hear the whole thing, with ladders to climb out on.
All the rest of that brush aside, boys. We got all we need.
It's a frame-up. We've got to shoot our way out. Come on. You stand steady. Cover them from behind.
And I've got guns on you from here.
Now, friend, cut rope. Give Tonto gun. You want to... Don't anyone else try to use a gun.
You see, Burton, it's downright foolish to try and beat the Lone Ranger's gun.
Well,
as for that lion, you polecat, that's an old toothless mountain cat that's just as tame as a kitten. But he kept you boys from trying to look in the pit.
We got you, Burton, and your men with you.
Thanks, Tyler, for helping to trap these men.
Sakes alive, mister. You repaid me in full. You saved Betsy's life.
She's waiting for you, beyond the pitfall.
Hi-yo, Silver!
City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of gun smoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The story of the violence that moved west with young America. The story of a man who moved with it. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal.
He's not up there, Mr. Dillon. He's just plain vanished.
There's no note anywhere. You sure of that, Chester?
Nothing, sir. I looked again, all over.
Well, it's 2 days now. This isn't like Doc.
Well, I still think he's just gone off on an emergency. Out in the country somewhere.
Maybe, but he's always left word before.
Well, what'll we do, Mr. Dillon?
I don't know. Might start asking people, Chester. Try the saloons and the store and maybe the depot, huh?
All right, Mr. Dillon, I'll go right now.
All right.
Well, I do declare.
What?
Riding right up Front Street as big as life.
Why, that old rascal getting us all worried about him.
For the land's sake, you sure are a sight for sore eyes, Doc. Where in the world have you been at, anyway?
Here. Hello, Chester. Matt.
Hey, you had us worried, Doc.
That's so?
You've been gone 2 days.
I know.
Next time, leave word, Doc.
I will. I surely will. If I can.
Well, it'd sure save us a lot of fretting.
Now, wait a minute. What do you mean, Doc, if you can?
Just that. If they let me, I'll leave word.
Come on inside, Doc. Well, all right. I'm curious, Doc. You want to tell me about it?
I can tell you part of it. Least important part. I made a promise about the rest. You know how it is, Matt.
No, but you tell me.
Well, the other night, Wednesday it was, I was peacefully asleep on my couch when a couple of riders tromped right into my office. They said a man was hurt somewhere out past Fort Dodge. So naturally, I got up and I went along with them.
Well, then why didn't you leave a note and say so?
They didn't tell me exactly where we was going, Chester. But they sure told me not to leave any note.
They told you what?
Let him talk, Chester.
Now, of course, I figured then it must have been a shooting, but my job's to take care of everybody, sinner and saved alike. And so, when finally we got to this place the next day...
What place?
That's part of what I promised not to tell, Chester. But like I was saying, there was a young man there who had got himself shot in the back. The bullet lodged right in his spine. And I dug it out, and I did all I could for him. And then I just sat there for quite a spell. And then I put my things away. And I walked out into the other room.
So, Doc, how is it?
I did what I could.
What do you mean?
He's dead. The shock of extracting that bullet was too much for him. It's a bad place, the spine there.
You killed him, huh, Doc?
No, I didn't kill him.
He's dead, ain't he?
Look, mister, doctors don't kill people. Murderers
Watch
do.
your mouth, Doc.
That boy wouldn't have lived more than a couple of days with that bullet where it was. And whoever put it there murdered him.
You want me to shut him up?
Not yet. Doc, tell me something. You know that boy in there?
I do.
Sure. And the three of us here, you know any of us?
Him. I've seen him around somewheres. Dodge, I guess.
Well, that settles it. He ain't walking out of here. Shut up. Know his name, Doc?
No, I don't. Of course, it might come to me, Let me think now.
Now, you don't understand, Doc. He wants to kill you already. Now you're trying to remember his name. That's just going to make it worse.
You can't kill a doctor for following his oath?
Oh, no? I shot that boy when he tried to get away, and I shoot you just as
Don't be a fool. I'm a doctor. Since there's nothing more I can do here, I got to be available to other patients. I've been away too long.
No, what are we arguing about? Sooner we shoot him, the better.
What kind of a man are you, anyways? Don't you know I'm the only doctor within 100 miles of Dodge?
Right now, it's one too many.
Now, wait a minute. I'm kind of thinking the doc's right. He ain't like an ordinary man. But doctor, well, it's almost like he ain't quite human somehow.
He's human enough to tell what he knows that hard-head marshal they got in Dodge. Then we'll have him on our tail. We'll never get our 20,000. Well, I figure it's us or the doc.
I'm not interested in what you figure, mister. Right this minute, there may be some woman having a baby and needing me real bad. There may be several folk needing me for help.
He's right. We can't kill him.
I can't.
You'll do what I say and nothing else, here?
Oh.
Doc, listen to me. If I let you go, will you promise not to tell about anybody you recognized here?
And if I don't?
And doctor or no doctor, I'll kill you myself.
Yeah, I suppose you would. All right. I'm here as a doctor and nothing else. I promise.
Word of honor, Doc?
That's my word of honor.
Okay, get out. One other thing, Doc.
What?
You break your word. You tell anybody where this place is or who you saw here, and we'll get to you. We'll kill you no matter where you try to hide.
I gave him my word, didn't I?
Sure, but don't forget what I said anyway. Don't forget for 1 minute. We'll kill you or die trying.
That's quite a story, Doc.
And you played it right smart, if you ask me. Who were they, Doc? Well, tell us.
Well, I only recognize one of them, Chester, besides the man they'd shot.
So you said. Have you thought of his name yet?
No, Chester, you don't understand. I gave my word I wouldn't tell.
Yes, but that was just so as you could get away.
Well, they'd have shot me for sure otherwise, but still I gave my word. It don't matter how or why.
But, Doc, they're just a bunch of killers.
I know.
Leave him alone, Chester.
But, Mr. Dillon... Yes, sir.
Matt.
Yeah, Doc.
Wouldn't you do the same if you were in my boots?
That'd be a hard choice, Doc, but... Yeah, I suppose I would.
Why, any man would. Leastwise, any man of honor would.
I guess I wasn't really thinking about it that way.
Yeah, well, I'm going to get some sleep. Matt, that was a good boy they murdered. I hope they hang for it. Oh, Dad blasted him.
How are we ever going to find him, Mr. Dillon?
I don't know, Chester. We don't even know who they killed.
Funny, we haven't heard about it.
Maybe nobody's missed him yet.
Just think. Doc could lead us straight to him right now.
Well, it isn't making the Doc happy, Chester.
No, sir, it sure isn't.
I'm going over the Texas Trail, Chester. I'll be back later.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Sam, bring me over a bottle and a glass, will you?
Hello, man.
Oh, hi, Kitty.
You want some help with that bottle?
Yeah, sure. I'm only going to have one. You can finish it. Sit down.
Oh, my reputation's bad enough without my trying to get around carrying about a bit of whiskey in me.
There you be. Oh, thank you, Sam. There you are, Kitty. Well, here's to luck.
Yeah, I could use some. Oh, you didn't come here to drink a bottle of rye, Matt. What's on your mind?
Well, Kitty, I was sort of wondering if maybe you'd heard any talk about anybody being missing lately.
Missing? Who?
Well, that's just the point. I don't know who.
Well, you're sure not on much of a trail, are you, Matt?
Well, a man was shot and he's dead. And I don't know who he was or who did it or where. All I know is that it happened.
Well, I'll be darned. Well, Matt, I don't know a thing I've heard that'd help. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was just a chance.
You know, it's not often a man gets shot around here without everybody knowing about it.
Well, I'm glad for that much anyway. Well, thanks, Kitty.
Well, good luck, Matt.
Yeah, take it easy with that bottle.
Yeah, I'll save it for you.
So long.
See you, Matt.
Doc's been asleep for 6 straight hours, Mr. Dillon. He sure must have been tired.
Yeah. Here, Chester, take these letters down to the depot for me, will you? They got to be in Washington next week.
Santa Fe pulls out in an hour, sir. I'll put 'em right in the mail car.
Marshal?
Why, Jake Worth. Why, you haven't come into Dodge in the last 6 months that I know of.
I'm here now, Marshal.
Oh? Trouble, Jake?
I'd call it that.
Well?
You know that cottonwood, the big one down at Brandy Bend?
Yeah?
There's a hole cut down by the roots at the north side of it. I put a sack in that hole this morning. It's got $20,000 in it.
It's a lot of money, Jake, even for you.
It isn't if Hank gets back all right.
Hank? That's your youngest boy, isn't it, Jake?
18 last month.
Yeah. And that's ransom money. Your boy's been kidnapped, huh?
He didn't show up the other night, Marshal. Next morning, I found a note tacked on the corral. Said to leave the money or they'd kill him.
Oh, come on, Jake. We'll try to get there before they pick up the money.
No, Marshal, I won't take any chances. They'd shoot him sure if we did that.
Well, you should have told me before you left the money. You should have come here first, you know.
You didn't hear what I said, Marshal. I won't take the chance. All I want now is for you to watch for anybody who turns up rich around here.
Jake, I want you to listen to me.
Now, you listen to me, Marshal. Nobody is going to do a thing till Hank's back safe on the ranch. Not one dang thing.
Jake, if they killed Hank, you'd want him hung, wouldn't you?
I'll hang him myself if it comes to that. I'll hunt him down like wolves.
All right, then let's go. Let's get on to Brandy Bend and wait for him.
No. I already told you no.
Hank's dead, Jake.
Huh?
They already shot him. And he's dead.
What are you talking about? Where is he?
I don't know.
And how come you know he's dead?
I can't tell you.
Marshal, I've had about enough of this.
We're wasting time here. Come on, Jake. I'll tell you what I can on the way to the river.
You better, by heaven, or one of us ain't never going to get to the river.
Jake Worth was known as a hard, hot-tempered man, but he was straight as they come. He'd made one fortune in Texas cattle and another in buffalo hides, and now all he wanted was his ranch and his 3 sons to work it with him. The Worths were good men. They didn't cause any trouble, and they worked hard. It was hard to tell Jake, but without mentioning Doc, I said what I could. And when we reached the Arkansas, we hid our horses in a clump of bush and worked our way on foot up to the big cottonwood. And I stood up and walked out into the open.
What are you doing, Marshal? You gone crazy?
Come on, Jake. No use to hide now.
Oh. That's him there, isn't it? That's Hank.
I'm afraid so, Jake.
And they killed him. They killed him all right. He was a good boy. Had his whole life to live yet. Why'd they do it? I gave him the money. Why'd they do it?
I'm sorry, Jake.
Marshal, I've been kind of confused by all this. I swallowed your story on the way down here. But I want the truth now. Every bit of it.
That's all I know, Jake. Hank tried to break and went up and shot him. But we'll get him.
I'll take care of myself soon as you tell me who they are.
I don't know who they are.
Don't lie to me, Marshal. You know a lot you're not telling me. What's going on with you anyway?
I've told you all I can,
That's
Jake.
my boy lying there, Marshal. He's been murdered. And if I didn't know you so well, I'd begin to think maybe you had something to do with
Now,
it
just
yourself.
a minute, Jake. I know you're upset.
Then why don't you tell me?
Because the man who told me about it had to promise not to name anybody, that's why.
What man? Who is he? I'll get it out of him if I have to cut it out.
Yeah, I know. That's why I can't tell you who he is.
What kind of a lawman are you, anyway?
I've told you all I can, Jake.
No, you haven't. Marshal, I don't believe your story about nobody promising nothing. You know who done it, and you're going to tell me or
Don't try it, Jake. You can't kill me, and you know it.
No, I can't. Me and my boys can. And I'm giving you 24 hours to name those men, and then we're coming to Dodge. There'll be blood spilt, Marshal.
Jake, I give you my word, I don't know who did it.
I don't believe you.
I'll help you take your boy home now.
No, go on back to Dodge. I'll manage here.
You're making a bad mistake, Jake.
24 hours, Marshal.
I'll be there.
We'll find you wherever you'll be.
Jake, I want... So long, Jake.
We will return for the second act of Gunsmoke in just a moment. But first, 300,000 volunteers are needed for the Ground Observer Corps. This spare time activity serves as a vital supplement of the Air Defense Command radar network, which has certain unavoidable blind spots due to the curvature of the Earth. Men and women from teenage up are urged to become ground observers. Get in touch with your nearest Civil Defense Center. Now for the second act of Gunsmoke.
There was no use arguing with him. The man's grief had destroyed his reason. And the worst of it was, I knew his sons would do whatever Jake told them to do. Unless I could stop it somehow, I'd have to shoot it out with 3 good and perfectly innocent men. For no reason at all. I thought about it all the way back to Dodge, and by the time I got there, I had an idea. I went up to Doc's and talked it over with him.
Well, all right, Matt. I'll do whatever I can.
It might not work, Doc, and you'll be exposing yourself to a lot of danger. Have you thought about that?
I have. I've also been thinking about the men who killed Hank Worth.
Well, we could wait till they start spending their money, or till one of them gets drunk and maybe talks too much somewhere.
We could. But meantime, you and the Worths will have a gunfight. Oh, man, it'd be a terrible thing to let happen.
All right, then, Doc, let's go. I want to get to the ranch before dark.
Yeah, maybe Jake's cooled off by now. Enough not to start shooting on sight anyway.
We'll soon find out. Come on.
You know, Matt, I haven't been out here since Mrs. Worth died. Oh, that must be 4 or 5 years ago. Well, the place sure has changed, hasn't it?
Yeah. I don't see anybody around, do you?
Maybe they saw us first. Maybe they're hid out.
I hope not.
See, Matt, I got an idea. Why don't you take your gun off and hang it around your saddle horn? Then they'll know you come peaceable.
I can't take a chance like that, Doc. Not with Jake in his state. But I won't shoot unless I have to.
He who lives by the sword.
Look, Doc, I'm doing everything I can to avoid this thing. But I'll kill all three of them if I have to.
All right, Matt, I understand.
That's far enough, Marshal. Watch him, boys. If he makes a move, shoot.
Yes, Ford.
Jake, I came here to stop a shooting, not to start one.
You can stop it, Marshal. Just tell me who killed my son.
If I knew, I'd be on his trail, Jake.
I'm not sure of that at all. What's Doc doing here?
Tell him, Doc.
I took the bullet out of Hank. He died soon after.
What?
That's right, Jake. Now come down here where we can talk like friends, and I'll explain it to you.
Stay where you are, boys.
Yeah.
All right. All right, Doc, let's hear it.
Well, they got me out of bed, Jake, and they led me out into the country. Hank had been shot in the back, and I extracted the bullet, but it was no use. He'd have died anyway. There were 3 men there, and I recognized one of them.
Who was he?
Well, I had to promise I wouldn't tell, Jake, or they'd have killed me.
That don't matter now.
Now, think about it a minute, Jake. Doc gave him his word. And you're asking him to break it. Now, think about it for a minute.
I'm thinking. Thinking about my boy, too.
Hank's dead. You can't help him now.
Shot in the back. And the coward who did it's running free.
You want to help get him, Jake?
Don't ask fool questions, Marshal. Of course I want to get him.
Now, then listen to me. Those men told Doc if he talked, they'd kill him.
Yeah, they meant it, too.
All right, so I got an idea now, Jake. We'll spread it around that Doc has identified the killer. The news will reach him soon enough, and meantime, I'm going to lay low. And I'll have Chester tell everybody that I've ridden out after them.
Go on.
Then we'll just wait. 1 or 2 or maybe all 3 of them will come into Dodge to kill Doc some night soon.
They still might get away.
And I'll deputize you and your boys right now, and you can wait for them with us. You'll have to stay hidden like me, of course.
We won't mind that. Not if we get a chance at them, we won't.
All right, good.
Yeah. Funny thing, though.
What?
A man like Doc here, rather than break his word, he'll make himself a target for those killers.
Yeah. Look, Jake, Doc and I are going to go back to Dodge now. I'll see that the story gets started, and in a day or 2, you and your boys can ride in, but separately, though. Otherwise, it might cause talk.
I understand.
And come straight to Doc's.
We'll get there.
For the next few days, Doc never left his office. I figured that'd make him look scared and draw the killers right into our trap. The rest of us sat around in his back room and waited. Chester kept us supplied with food and coffee, but we began to get pretty restless cooped up like that. And by the 5th night, we were being real careful with one another and over-polite. But on the 6th night, about midnight, we got our game.
Mr. Dillon, I think it's them.
Where?
They just rode up Front Street, 3 of them. They're tying up outside right now. They acted too deliberate-like for ordinary riders, so I run up the back way to tell you.
Doc, come on in.
What do you want me to do, Matt?
Take cover in here and stay out of sight.
Yeah, whatever you say, man.
Let's go downstairs and meet them, Marshal.
No, we might just scatter them that way. Now listen. One of them will probably stand guard on the street while the other 2 come up here to get Doc. Chester, you and the 2 boys go down the back way. Jake and I'll wait in the Doc's office. But don't jump that man while we go into action up here. Do you understand?
I got it, sir.
All right, then move fast. Come on, Jake.
Now what?
Well, we'll just wait here in the dark.
Good.
I'll fix Doc's blanket on the couch here so they'll think he's in it.
They're on the stairs now.
All right, get back in the corner, Jake, or we'll be shooting each other.
All right.
Quiet now. And don't start shooting till I do.
Doc, wake up, you lying dog.
Let you shoot him and get out of here.
What? Wait. He ain't here.
What? Get your hands up. You're under arrest, both of you.
It's a trap.
You all right, Jake?
Got one of them. I'm all right.
Doc? Doc, you can come on out now.
Yeah, all right, man.
They're dead. Light the lamp, will you, Doc?
All right. Yes, you bet. Like the lamp right here.
Okay, Mr. Dillon?
Yeah, come in, Chester.
Well, we got him, Mr. Dillon. He tried to get away when he heard you up here, but he ran smack into one of the Worth boys. He's dead.
Yeah. Well, I don't know either one of these men. Doc, you can tell us now. Is one of these the man you recognize?
Let me see here. This one here. I remembered later I treated him for a broken nose some time back. I never did know his name, though. He come up on the, up the trail with a herd, I think.
It don't matter now, long as they're all dead.
Oh, well. Bring the other bodies up, Chester. I'll do the autopsies quick, and I'll get them out of here. It's about time I got something out of all this.
Okay, Doc. I'll fetch him.
Well, Jake, I'm satisfied, Marshal. Me and the boys will be getting back to the ranch now.
Sure.
Marshal,
Yeah?
I doubted you. I'm sorry for that.
Forget it, Jake.
No. No, it's best I remember. Man shouldn't make mistakes like that.
Well, there was no harm done. The way it worked out.
I'll buy you a drink before we leave, Marshal.
I think I'd like that, Jake. Come on, let's go.
Gunsmoke, under the direction of Norman MacDonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Tonight's story was specially written for Gunsmoke by John Meston, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Featured in the cast were John Daner, with Lawrence Dobkin and Harry Bartell. Parley Bear is Chester, Howard McNear is Doc, and Georgia Ellis is Kitty. Gunsmoke is heard by our troops overseas through the facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Join us again next week as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal, fights to bring law and order out of the wild violence of the West in Gunsmoke. This is Roy Rowan speaking over the CBS Radio Network.